Chapter 28:18. His sword she was simply too sharp. Moreover, his defense was unparalleled. No wonder he could kill so many Archean prodigies. One of the Archean creatures had a gloomy expression. It seemed that the human race still had some prodigies. The other person sneered. So what? How dare he be so arrogant in front of the 10,000 Archean races? He's definitely dead, the third person said. Originally, they wanted to let the Archean royal prodigies deal with him, but they didn't expect him to encounter the Greenwood prodigies. Don't worry, he's definitely dead. The one who spoke was also an Archean creature from the Green Vine race. The other Archean creatures all turned their heads. Oh, could it be that Brother Greenwood is confident this time? Of course. The Archean creature from the Green Vine race had a proud expression. This time, Brother Greenwood brought the Greenwood sword. Greenwood sword? You mean that terrifying half-saint weapon? That's right, it's that half-saint weapon. When the surrounding human cultivators heard this, they were extremely puzzled. So what if he had a half-saint weapon? Lin Xian had one too. Moreover, in the previous battles, prodigies of their level rarely used half-saint weapons. Because both sides had them, it was useless to take them out. They might as well use their own strength. But now, it seemed that these Archean creatures were so confident. Could it be that there was something special about this half-saint weapon? They didn't know, but thinking about it, they should be able to see it soon. Buzz in the sky, an extremely powerful energy fluctuation flickered, causing everyone to feel a sense of oppression. What's that? Everyone exclaimed when they realized that there was an ancient green sword in Greenwood's hand. It had a very simple appearance, and green light flowed on it. There were Tao runes on it, and it was incomparably dazzling. It was a half-saint weapon, an extremely terrifying half-saint weapon. Everyone exclaimed because only half-saint and saint weapons could have Tao runes on them. Half-saint weapon? Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. He also had a half-saint weapon, and more than one. He even had the saint's hand bone and the flower protector. It was just that he hadn't used them before. Seeing that his opponent had used a half-saint weapon, Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, the 9-story pagoda appeared beside him. It emitted a terrifying aura. Another half-step saint tool had appeared. The two semi-sage tools surged in the sky. Dreadful Tao patterns flickered, and formed an incomparably terrifying storm that swept out in all directions. Is this your trump card? But it's useless against me. Lin Xian frowned as he looked at the other party. Kid, you've underestimated me, and you've underestimated our Green Vine clan. Do you think this is just an ordinary half-saint tool? Today, I'll show you how powerful it is. Boom! Boom! As he spoke, the ancient azure sword in his hand suddenly blossomed with incomparable light, causing the surroundings to rapidly tremble. An extremely terrifying power burst out from his body. At this moment, everyone's blood surged, their faces pale, as if their bodies were penetrated. What a terrifying sword energy! This Qing Mu was actually a peerless sword king. Why do I feel that his sword aura isn't any weaker than Lin Xian's? Two great sword kings fighting? It was truly earth-shattering. Everyone discussed as they quickly retreated, because the aura in front of them was becoming more and more terrifying. It directly turned into a sky full of azure light that rushed into the 9 heavens and blasted out in all directions. The powerful figures of the 9 Li dynasty also raised their heads, their faces full of shock. Because this sword energy was too terrifying, as if it could destroy everything. Within the city, the eyes of the archaic creatures also flickered. As expected of the Greenwood sword, it was indeed powerful. The archaic creatures of the Greenwood clan were even more proud. That was natural. With the Greenwood sword, it was enough to threaten the prides of the archaic royal family. It would definitely be able to kill that kid. Boom! The Greenwood sword slowly raised, and then slashed forward. Suddenly, the entire world was distorted. An endless azure light covered a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles. At this moment, they couldn't see anything. They could only see the peerless sword light shining. Not good, run! Some of the people who were too close were affected by the green sword light. They ran madly, but it was still too late. Some people were directly swept by the azure sword light, and their bodies were split into dozens of pieces. Some were directly pierced through, and nailed to the ground. Some were cut into a bloody mist by the sword, and no longer existed. It was too terrifying. These people were all experts, but at this moment, they couldn't even block the aftermath of the sword energy. On the human side, some of the saints frowned. No, was a half-saint artifact so powerful? One had to know that a half-saint artifact was very terrifying. Only some of the top invincible kings could use it at full strength. It would be difficult for them to use its full power in their hands. However, the half-saint artifact in the opponent's hand was too powerful. It was as if it wasn't used by a young genius, but by a sacred lord. What was going on? Damn it, this Qingting clan was really strange. No wonder they dared to use a half-saint artifact. These people's faces were gloomy, and they didn't know how Lin Xian would deal with it. In the middle ground, the princes of the dynasties had also come, and even the prince of the great Xia dynasty had also come. His eyes shone with a piercing light as he stared at the battle. He was also very curious about how Lin Xian would deal with it. Although he hadn't fought with Qing Mu before, there was a very terrifying genius in the royal family who had fought with him. Although that genius wasn't as strong as him, he was also a very terrifying genius in the royal family. However, he still lost to Qing Mu. It was the greenwood sword in the opponent's hand that had defeated the genius of the royal family. Therefore, the prince of the great Xia dynasty became very serious when facing the greenwood sword. Lin Xian was also surrounded by countless azure sword energy, and when it hit his body, it made sonorous, thunderous sounds. Endless flames pierced through all directions, forming terrifying black holes one after another. His eyes became a terrifying golden color, as if they were going to devour people. Competing with sword energy? How interesting! He didn't expect that his opponent was also a sword king, and such a terrifying one at that. Coupled with this half-saint artifact, it was really terrifying. However, when had he ever been afraid of others in the sword Dao? Humph! With a cold snort, terrifying sword energy erupted from his body and swept through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The sword energy took the shape of a dragon and rushed into the sky as if 10,000 dragons were roaring. The dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At this moment, Lin Xian's figure became more and more resplendent. Even though there were thousands of azure sword lights, everyone could still see him clearly. At this moment, all the warriors, including the humans, the ancient creatures, and the older generation experts, looked up at the sky. Heavens, what was that? When they saw this scene, they were extremely shocked. It was Lin Xian. Was he going to make a move? Chapter 28:19. That's right, it was indeed Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian was extremely powerful, causing everyone's bodies to tremble. He seemed to have transformed into a peerless sword god. In front of him, there was a dragon-shaped sword shadow that appeared and suppressed the surroundings. What was that? The archaic creatures in the distance screamed. Qing Mu's pupils also constricted because he felt a terrifying aura from the dragon-shaped sword shadow. That aura could still pose a threat to him. The other human experts, saints' sons, and geniuses all exclaimed in surprise. It was that dragon-shaped sword shadow again. They knew that Lin Xian had an extremely terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow. Back then, he had even gathered countless powers to split open the nest of 10,000 dragons. It could be said that it was extremely strange and terrifying. Until now, they still hadn't figured out what that dragon-shaped sword shadow was. However, that didn't stop them from being terrified of it. After Lin Xian displayed the dragon-shaped sword shadow, the aura on his body rose infinitely, and the entire world trembled with him. Tens of thousands of sword lights swept in all directions. Buzz! Lin Xian reached out his palm and grabbed the dragon-shaped sword shadow. He waved his long sword and pointed it forward. Boom! 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 Dragon roars sounded one after another. In the distance, Qing Mu's body trembled, and a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. He felt that what his opponent was holding wasn't a sword, but a dragon. It was an incomparably terrifying dragon. Moreover, the dragon's might emitted from it suppressed his soul and bloodline. Damn it! Qing Mu's expression was extremely ugly. He originally thought that after he took out his Qing Mu's sword, he could easily kill his opponent. However, he didn't expect his opponent to have such a terrifying thing. Moreover, it seemed to be even more terrifying than his Qing Mu's sword. At this moment, his Qing Mu's sword began to tremble rapidly, as if it couldn't resist at all. Everyone was terrified when they saw this. Even such a terrifying saint artifact couldn't resist it? This Lin Xian was really terrifying. No, damn it, I don't believe it. I can't lose to you. Qing Mu angrily roared. Green light blossomed from his body, and the Qing Mu's sword in his hand emitted an incomparably sharp light. Around him, green vines quickly intertwined, crawling under his feet. Activating the power of his bloodline, a green plant appeared between his eyebrows, emitting a terrifying aura. At this moment, his strength had increased once again. Die for me! With a furious roar, tens of thousands of cyan sword lights crisscrossed, causing everyone to panic. The dreadful green sword light slashed out, and the heaven and earth were split into pieces. This was the power of a semi-sage tool. It was accompanied by countless Tao patterns in the sky. On the other side, Lin Xian also snorted coldly as he activated his sword's soul and released a dragon-shaped sword chi. It was like a giant dragon dancing in the sky. The two sword chis collided in the air, erupting with unparalleled power. Boom! Boom! The sword light that filled the sky rumbled, tearing apart the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The impact of that energy caused all the surrounding experts to vomit blood. Their faces were filled with terror. It was too terrifying. Of these two people, one had an incomparably terrifying sword shadow that seemed no different from a true dragon. The other was able to use a semi-sage tool to such a terrifying extent, far surpassing the younger generation. It could be said that these two were both monsters. Even an invincible king wouldn't dare to casually step forward in such a battle. This was because a single shockwave was enough to kill them. Boom! Boom! In the sky, the two divine swords collided 9 times. The entire heaven and earth were filled with countless large cracks. On the 9th collision, Qing Mu's arm was cut off. The Qing Mu's sword in his hand flew into the sky, trembling non-stop. Boom! As for Qing Mu, his expression was incomparably ugly. This was because not only his arm, but his entire body was also filled with cracks. His opponent's sword chi was too cold. Even if he could use a semi-sage tool to a terrifying extent, it was still very difficult for him to resist it. He found it hard to believe. Damn it! He quickly retreated. Countless vines intertwined on his body, forming a green sea in front of him to block the sword chi. The green vines surged, emitting an incomparably terrifying power. However, they only blocked it for an instant. In the next moment, all the vines were cut apart, turning into spirit chi that dissipated between heaven and earth. However, this was enough for Qing Mu. He had already retreated tens of thousands of miles away. Blood flowed wildly from his body. Aoki was injured! Aoki was injured! Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. Especially the ancient creatures, they were even more shocked. That was Qing Mu, who was incomparably powerful. Moreover, he had used the Qing Mu's sword. One had to know that the Qing Mu's sword had been nourished by Qing Mu's blood for many years. Although it was a semi-sage tool, Qing Mu could unleash energy that far surpassed what a young genius could use. It could be said that if other geniuses encountered Qing Mu, they wouldn't have any chance of survival. But now, Qing Mu was actually injured, while his opponent was completely unharmed. This was truly unbelievable. Damn it, what exactly was that dragon-shaped sword shadow? Could it be that it was also a semi-sage tool? Or could it be a sage tool? Impossible! With that kid's strength, he still couldn't use a complete sage tool. It should be a special kind of accompanying saint artifact. The ancient creatures' faces were incomparably gloomy. The human powerhouses were also discussing animatedly. Qing Mu was so angry that his entire body trembled. He had never felt that his life was in danger like today. He couldn't bear it anymore. In the next moment, he roared crazily. The green light flashed and healed all his wounds. Buzz! He was completely unharmed. Damn kid, I'll let you know the price of injuring me. Qing Mu once again walked over like a ga fiend. What? Unharmed? How did he do it? How terrifying was Lin Xian's sword qi? He was actually able to recover in an instant. Those people were extremely shocked. They only knew how terrifying Lin Xian's sword qi was. As long as one was hit by it, it would probably be very difficult to erase it. However, Qing Mu actually had such power. Even Lin Xian was extremely surprised. He narrowed his eyes. The other party was actually able to destroy the inextinguishable aura of the great dragon sword soul. He had to admit that it was truly shocking. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon transmitted his voice. Kid, he's from the Green Vine clan. The vitality of the Green Vine clan was extremely strong. It could be said that they were immortal and indestructible. As long as they had a drop of blood, they would be able to play with endless. This was their bloodline talent. You have to be careful. Bloodline talent? How magical! Lin Xian was extremely surprised. It seemed that the other party's bloodline wasn't about fighting strength, but recovery. This was beyond his expectations. It was really the first time he had seen an ancient creature with such tenacious vitality. However, so what if it was tenacious? If a drop of blood could regenerate, then he would destroy all of the other party's blood. Let's see how you're going to be reborn. Lin Xian's eyes exploded with a piercing cold light. Chapter 28:20. His opponent was indeed very powerful, and his regenerative ability was a headache for many prodigies. However, that was not a problem for Lin Mu. He had more than one way to kill Lin Mu. In the next moment, he snorted coldly and quickly charged out. The terrifying sword light exploded again. Terrifying cracks appeared in the sky one after another, spreading into the distance with terrifying and indestructible power. Kill! Qing Mu also charged forward. He released his bloodline power and swung the greenwood sword in his hand. The two of them clashed again. However, this time, Qing Mu was defeated even more miserably. His body was sliced apart again at the waist. I don't believe it! Heal! His bloodline power erupted, and his body healed once again with a powerful life force recovery ability. However, not long after, his body was cut open again. This time, he was cut into 4 pieces. Lin Xian looked down like a god fiend. Let's see how many times you can heal! As he spoke, the sword qi on his body became even more dazzling. Everyone was stunned when they saw that. He was too powerful. The terrifying prodigy of the Green Vine race was suppressed even when he used the greenwood sword. His body was cut open many times. If it were not for his strong regenerative ability, he would have been killed long ago. Even so, Qing Mu would not be able to hold on for long. After all, he only had a strong regenerative ability, but he was not truly immortal. As expected, after the 20th recovery, Qing Mu's face was abnormally pale. His bloodline power had weakened, and he did not have much energy left in his body. After all, every time he recovered, he had to consume a large amount of bloodline power to resist the indestructible sword intent of the dragon sword soul. When he was cut open for the 21st time, Qing Mu's expression changed. Qing Mu's expression finally changed. He knew that the young man before him was stronger than him. He did not dare to continue fighting. Because if he continued fighting, he would probably be killed here. Therefore, at the next moment, he gritted his teeth and said, Kid, I'll let you be proud this time. The next time we meet, I'll definitely kill you with my sword. As soon as he finished speaking, his body swayed and he quickly flew into the distance. Seeing that, everyone was shocked. Qing Mu had escaped. Could it be that Qing Mu had been defeated? Heavens, the terrifying Green Vine clan, a genius with such vigorous vitality, had actually been defeated. His opponent's sword Shi was too terrifying. You want to leave? Can you leave? Lin Xian sneered as he watched the other party flee. Greenwood roared angrily. Damn brat, don't be too arrogant. Although your sword Shi is terrifying, you won't be able to kill me in a short period of time, so quickly stop. Otherwise, don't blame me for going all out. Seeing that the other party was still intending to make a move, Qing Mu roared furiously. He was already sullen enough after his defeat today. Now, his opponent wanted to continue hunting him down. How could he tolerate this? Do you think you're very strong? Do you think I can't kill you just because you're full of vitality? Do you think I only have sword techniques? Lin Xian sneered and quickly formed a seal with his palms. One after another, profound palm prints appeared. Soon, a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky, looking down at the earth like a god. As soon as the golden eye appeared, the people below began to tremble. Their souls trembled, and they couldn't help but want to kowtow. Damn it, what is that? That was especially true for those ancient life forms. They were terrified. That pair of golden eyes was simply too cold. Greenwood also felt that he was enveloped by a strange energy. In the next moment, he screamed in pain. Not good. It was a soul attack. He screamed crazily. He didn't expect the other party to have such a terrifying method. His soul was ignited and burned crazily. The pain made him despair and terrified. Although he was from the Green Vine race and had strong recovery abilities, that only referred to the recovery ability of the physical body, not the recovery ability of the soul. Therefore, once his soul was damaged, it would be very difficult for him to recover. He might even be killed. The heavenly secret divine eyes were too powerful. In addition, Lin Xian used it with all his might. The power of the soul burning made Greenwood unable to resist at all. Soon, he fell from the sky. His eyes were empty. It was obvious that he had been killed. No! When the 10,000 ancient races saw this scene, they screamed crazily and rushed over. Especially the immemorial creatures of the Green Vine race, they roared crazily. After a round of investigation, they were dumbstruck. Greenwood was dead. Their clan's genius had actually been killed by someone. How was this possible? One had to know that Greenwood's physical body had been shattered more than 20 times, but he could still revive. He even had the strength to fight. Now, his physical body was fine, but his soul was directly destroyed. Damn it, this kid was actually a soul expert. They couldn't accept this fact at all. The other immemorial creatures were also terrified when they saw this scene. The other party's methods were too strange, especially the soul attack. It was impossible to guard against. This made them extremely shocked. The human race's cultivators were also shocked. Dead, another primordial prodigy had died. Lin Xian was too powerful. That's right, how many archaic prodigies had been killed already? He was too dazzling. It would be difficult for him to live long. Some people had grave expressions. Indeed, Lin Xian was too dazzling. Such a human prodigy would definitely cause the 10,000 ancient races to be wary. It probably wouldn't be long before the true experts of the 10,000 ancient races arrived and secretly killed Lin Xian to prevent future troubles. In truth, the human race's experts guessed correctly. After the 10,000 ancient races received this news, they immediately began to secretly discuss. This youth was too abnormal. He probably had the potential to become a young great emperor. They didn't expect that there would be someone else besides a saint physique with such terrifying strength. He had to be eliminated. Otherwise, if he was allowed to grow, he would become an unimaginable enemy. The elders and experts of the 10,000 ancient races discussed and decided to immediately eliminate Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian was strong and had heaven-defying talent, he was different from Yi Dao Denir. Behind Yi Dao Denir stood the primordial aristocratic families. They had extreme weapons that could suppress everything. For the time being, they didn't dare to make a move. After all, If they angered the Yi family and the Yi family activated their extreme weapons, the 10,000 ancient races wouldn't be able to resist. Only the theocrats would be able to resist. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, they didn't dare to make a move against Yi Daodenir. Unless no one had a handle on him. But Lin Xian was different. Although he was also the master of Immortal Palace, they hadn't heard that Immortal Palace had any extreme weapons. So what if Immortal Palace was angry if they killed him? The 10,000 ancient races were powerful. How could they fear Immortal Palace? For a time, several true experts of the 10,000 ancient races moved out. Their target was Lin Xian. This time, they wanted to kill him in one strike and eliminate all future troubles. Chapter 28-21. After Lin Xian killed the prodigy of the Green Vine race, Qing Mu, he went on his way. Next, he killed 2 more primordial prodigies. In an instant, the world was in an uproar. Everyone, especially the primordial prodigies, was in a state of panic because the other party was too powerful. The humans were also shocked. They guessed that Lin Xian should have the strength of the primordial royal race. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to kill so many primordial prodigies. A royal prodigy? It was really shocking. The faces of the older generation were filled with amazement. Lin Xian, you brat, wash your neck and wait for me to kill you. At this moment, a shocking piece of news came from the horizon. In an instant, the world was shocked. Who dared to say such words at this time? It was the primordial royal race. The primordial royal race was about to make a move. Everyone was shocked because they realized that the person who said that was from the South Sea Divine Crocodile race. The South Sea Divine Crocodile race had just recovered recently and was extremely powerful, surpassing the primordial race like the Silver Lightning race. It was a lineage of the primordial royal race. And this time, the person who said that was a prodigy of the South Sea Divine Crocodile race. Was the primordial royal race finally going to make a move on Lin Xian? In 7 days, I'll be waiting for you at the Sunset Peak. Lin Xian said such words. He boarded the Black Master and headed to the Sunset Peak. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to really dare to accept the challenge. It was really a shocking battle. A golden age. A top prodigy. Who was stronger, the humans or the primordial royal race? Everyone was shocked. The primordial primordial creatures were also interested and headed to the Dawnfall Peak. As for the humans, they swarmed over in droves. Even Yi Wudao, the prince of the great Xia dynasty, the Alcade sage, and the others rushed over. Many primordial races had come out, but this was the first time a prodigy of the primordial royal race was fighting in front of everyone. Perhaps this was an extremely good opportunity to obtain information, to investigate, and sense just what level of strength the prides of the ancient royal family had reached. The words of the 2 geniuses shook the entire world. Countless experts gathered at the Dawnfall Peak. Lin Xian took the Black Earth and arrived at the Sunset Peak early. Although the Sunset Peak was only a mountain peak, it was incomparably vast, and it stretched for hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Within the surrounding mountain ranges, countless figures could be seen flashing about. Lin Xian had even chosen the tallest peak and sat down cross-legged, absorbing the essence of the world, sun, and moon as he cultivated silently. The ancient royal family battle? To be honest, he was looking forward to it. The first 6 days had been very quiet. Although there were more and more people around, no one made a ruckus. They waited patiently. On the 7th day, an extremely terrifying whistling sound suddenly came from the horizon. Following that, a large number of projections fell from the sky, as if dark clouds were pressing down. Accompanying it was an extremely terrifying aura that overflowed into the heavens. Here it comes! At this moment, all the martial artists and ancient life forms in the surrounding hundreds of thousands of miles of mountain range opened their eyes and looked up. Humph! Lin Xian, you brat, you really dare to come? A cold laugh came from the sky. This voice shattered the world. The ground cracked, the sky was pierced, and black holes appeared one after another. How terrifying! Just an aura was able to create such a terrifying scene. Was this the strength of an ancient royal family genius? It was really too terrifying. There were probably not many people in the younger generation who could compete with him. Everyone trembled, especially the human race martial artists. They were terrified. The 10,000 ancient races were simply too strong. Even the primordial lifeforms were stunned. But soon, they clenched their fists. Great, the royal family genius had made a move. This time, they must kill him. That's right, what emperor of the human race? In front of the 10,000 ancient races, he was just an ant-like existence. Just you wait, this time, you humans will definitely lose. These ancient life forms were very arrogant. They were high and mighty, and no human martial artists dared to step into their territory. When everyone heard this, they fell silent. Because they didn't know what the final outcome of this battle would be. However, Lin Xian's supporters quickly counterattacked. What was so great about that? That's right, it wasn't the first time they'd heard that. Previously, those ancient prodigies were also very arrogant, but weren't they still killed by God Lin Xian? What did you say? You're courting death. Those ancient life forms were enraged. Lin Xian's supporters snorted coldly. What's wrong? They were killed, but they didn't allow others to say anything. You ancient life forms are too domineering. That's right, don't be arrogant here if you have the ability. Go and compete with God Lin Xian. Let's see if you can block his sword energy. You're courting death. Several ancient life forms were enraged on the spot. They reached out with their palms, covering the sky and the sun. They were like ancient demon mountains that pressed down. They wanted to crush those who spoke into pieces. Those human martial artists were terrified. The other party was too terrifying. In an instant their bodies stiffened. Of course, there were also people who roared and used their artifacts, preparing to fight to the death. Just as the battle was about to erupt, a cold snort was heard. A golden light in the sky cut through the void like a sharp sword, blocking everyone. Watch the battle carefully. A cold voice sounded. There were only a few words, but everyone's scalp went numb, and they didn't dare to say anything else. Even those ancient life forms were stunned. They seemed to have a feeling of suffocation. This kind of feeling only appeared when they faced the ancient royal family. Damn it, who was it? They looked up at the sky. In the sky, there was a golden figure. It was the human race's Saint Physique. Instead, it was Leaf Doudenier. A wisp of light on his body directly suppressed those people. This was especially true for suppressing these ancient creatures. Those ancient life forms withdrew their power and didn't attack again. On the other side, the human martial artists also breathed a sigh of relief. Yi Wudao was here. He was indeed powerful. As expected of Eastern Sage, he was powerful. Just a wisp of his aura was enough to suppress those ancient life forms. It was really a golden age. On the other side, a whistling sound rang out. The chaotic chi in the sky flickered, turning into a terrifying chaotic light. It carried a peerless beauty and slowly descended. The saintess of all beginnings. It was her. That woman was getting more and more terrifying. Everyone was discussing again. The Tao that could be spoken was not the Tao. Accompanied by the ethereal voice, a majestic figure descended. There were mysterious runes flickering around him one after another. It was really terrifying. Taoist sage! Everyone exclaimed, and the pupils of those ancient life forms shrank. The appearance of these human sky prides was simply too terrifying. Chaotic chi and innate Tao patterns had both appeared. It was really shocking. It wasn't over yet. After the saintess of all beginnings, Taoist sage, and the others, a few more figures descended from the sky. They were all human prodigies. One of them was surrounded by a dazzling divine light. He was like a fiend god that had come into being, suppressing everyone until they couldn't breathe. Chapter 28-22. That person was none other than the Alcate Saint. The other person had the shadow of a phoenix on her body. She was suppressing the primordial creatures, causing their blood to freeze. Damn it, what a powerful bloodline! How could the human race have such a bloodline? They were shocked as they looked at the figure in horror. The figure was incomparably flickering, and her body was surrounded by a terrifying light. A faint shadow of a phoenix circled around her. The other human warriors also exclaimed in surprise. The Jade Lake Saintess! The Jade Lake Saintess had arrived. Rumor had it that she had a mysterious bloodline. They did not expect it to be the Phoenix bloodline. Yes, it was impossible in the past. Now that the 10,000 Archean races had appeared, the Jade Lake Saintess bloodline had finally reappeared in the world. It was the terrifying Phoenix bloodline. That's right, the person who had arrived was Murong Qingqing. Her Phoenix bloodline was fully activated at this moment, causing her strength to undergo an earth-shattering change. Sister Miss Seductress. On the other side, purple clouds churned. A beautiful woman rode on a purple cloud and descended quickly. She was like a fairy in the mortal world. Saintess Xixia. She actually had a heavenly spiritual body. Among the primordial creatures, a few primordial geniuses screamed as if they had seen a ghost. The humans were also shocked. What? Saintess Xixia actually had a heavenly spiritual body? Heavens! Heavenly spiritual bodies were similar to Taoist bodies. They were close to heaven and earth and were not weaker than heavenly spiritual bodies. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Xin Jingqiu to have a terrifying heavenly spiritual body. Lin Xian was really heaven-defying. His two female companions actually had such terrifying physiques. Everyone naturally knew the relationship between Murong Qingqing, Xin Jingqiu, and Lin Xian. This caused everyone to be speechless. That was because Lin Xian himself possessed the 9-yang divine body. The people around him were also terrifying. That dark red snake was not a snake, but a dragon. The two female companions beside him both had heaven-defying physiques, and he even had a friend like Yi Wudao. It could be said that he was really strong to the peak. However, there were also elders who shook their heads and sighed. Too strong was easy to break. Perhaps this time, this Lin Xian of Zhonghuang was really in danger. The other holy sons, holy daughters, and sky prides fell silent. The archaic creatures sneered again and again. In the sky, the huge projections became more and more terrifying. They were like ancient demonic mountains that pressed down in all directions. Those who were weaker could not withstand it at all. Their bodies trembled, and even the saints and geniuses turned pale. Boom! Boom! The terrifying dark clouds churned and tore apart as a giant head poked out. The head was larger than a mountain, and its terrifying eyes were emitting a merciless light. He stared at the human warriors below. This time around, there are quite a number of saints and geniuses. However, you bunch of trash can't even withstand a single blow from me. As he spoke, he stretched out his hand and grabbed downwards. This palm was simply too terrifying. It covered a radius of tens of thousands of miles. As it pressed down, the void collapsed completely. Boom! Boom! The 5 elements Saint Sun and the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun both vomited blood and flew backward. The Freedom Saint Sun also trembled and flew backward. It was too terrifying. These holy sons and holy daughters were originally the top sky prides of the human race. However, at this moment, they were nothing in front of the archaic royal sky prides. Humph, what a bunch of trash! The Silver Lightning Tribe, Fire Cloud Tribe, and Tiango Tribe sky prides sneered. The human race's faces were extremely ugly. Damn it, they were too arrogant. The other party actually dared to attack their sky prides. Yi Wudao, the Alcade Saint, the Great Xiao Prince, Wuchen, and the others snorted coldly. Their eyes emitted a cold light as if they were about to attack. However, at this moment, a few more terrifying rays of light came from the sky. Buzz! A blood-red moon appeared in the sky, dyeing the entire sky blood-red. The light emitted by the moon made everyone's hearts turn cold. Even their blood seemed to freeze. Not good, it's another archaic royal! The human race exclaimed. They knew that it was the Blood Moon tribe, which was also an archaic royal. It seemed that the Blood Moon tribe sky prides had also come out. The archaic creatures also trembled. Many of them even prostrated themselves on the ground. They had no choice. In the face of an archaic royal, they also had to submit. The blood-red moon in the sky rotated slowly, emitting a terrifying aura. One of the rays of light flew towards the Reverence Moon Saint, courting death. The Reverence Moon Saint's face changed instantly. However, he soon let out a roar. Even if it meant risking the Reverence Moon Sect's honor, he would still attack. How could he escape in front of so many human sky prides and experts? With a furious roar, he unleashed all of his power without holding back. A full moon also appeared behind her. The source of the Reverence Moon Sect's power was the moon. Therefore, they also cultivated the moon cultivation technique. At this moment, the full moon behind him and the blood-red moon collided rapidly. With a loud boom, heaven and earth shook. Countless large cracks appeared. Puff! The Reverence Moon Saint vomited a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. He fainted on the spot. The full moon that he had unleashed was smashed into pieces. The blood-red moon was completely undamaged. The light on it became even more demonic. What? It couldn't even block one attack? The human cultivators were horrified. The people of the Reverence Moon Sect exclaimed in shock and hurriedly rescued the Reverence Moon Saint. Everyone's face turned ugly. The Reverence Moon Saint was in existence at the level of a saint. How could he not even block one attack from the opponent? Was the gap between them that big? These people were filled with despair. There were so many of them. How many of them would die in this battle? It would be best if all of them died. All of your souls are mine. The surrounding people trembled. Such a strange voice rang in their ears, making their scalps tingle. Even the archaic creatures were terrified. The sky pride of the Blue Devil clan was here. Damn it, don't kill me! They were terrified. There was no other way. The Blue Devil clan was an archaic royal family. They were cruel by nature. They loved to collect soul stones. Anyone who was targeted by them, whether they were humans, demons, or 10,000 archaic creatures, could not escape. It could be said that the Blue Devil was a terrifying killing god. TSK, a bunch of trash. A disdainful voice rang out. A blue figure appeared in the sky, confronting the blood-red moon. The other party did not emit any strange scene. He just stood there. His body was blue, as if he was made of blue crystal. His face was ferocious, like a demon. There was a horn on his head and a pair of blue wings on his back. In his left hand was a black demonic banner, and in his right hand was a trident. His body emitted a biting cold aura that could make people faint with just a glance. He was the sky pride of the Blue Devil clan. At this moment, the sky was divided into 3 parts. One part was blood-red, and the blood-red moon was slowly rotating. The other part was the sky pride of the Blue Devil clan. The last part was pitch-black clouds. A head was ferocious, letting out a terrifying roar. It was the sky pride of the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan. Chapter 28-23. The 3 sky prides of the far ancient royal family were chatting in the sky, but the aura they emitted shocked everyone. Was the Blood Moon clan that powerful? Take my fist! Below them, a golden light suddenly erupted from Yudao's body, and a golden fist blasted towards the sky. You're courting death. An angry voice rang out, and the blood-red moon in the sky spun crazily. Then, it came crashing down with the force of Mount Tai. Boom! When the two of them collided, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. A violent storm spread out in all directions with the two of them as the center. Not good, Dodge! Screams rang out. They were too close, and they were about to be killed. At this moment, some of the elders of the Holy Lands took out their treasures and worked together to form a light screen. Only then did they manage to protect everyone. Otherwise, just the aftermath of this energy would be enough to kill most of the people present. They were saved. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief and looked up at the sky. They wanted to see the result. Yudao retracted his fist and said indifferently, The Blood Moon clan was nothing more than this. He stood with his hands behind his back, looking calm. The blood-red moon in the sky spun continuously, and the terrifying killing intent was getting more and more terrifying. Amitabha. He wasn't the only one who moved. Dustless also chanted Buddhist scriptures and stood up. Buddhist light bloomed from his body, and he stared at the sky pride of the Blue Devil clan. Little monk, how dare you have designs on me? I'll take your soul away today. The sky pride of the Blue Devil clan laughed sinisterly. The soul-summoning banner in his hand moved quickly. Suddenly, countless vengeful spirits appeared, and a terrifying voice rang out. Everyone's scalps went numb, as if their souls were about to be pierced. Buzz the living fossil elder took out a treasure and froze it in midair. Only then was he able to protect everyone. Dustless faced all this with a calm expression. His fingers moved quickly, and all the light energy was stuck to his fingertip. It formed a very beautiful flower. Flower pinching finger. A Buddhist grand mystique. Many people screamed. The flower pinching finger was too terrifying, and it could destroy all attacks. As expected, the attack of the Blue Devil clan's Sky Pride was destroyed by the flower pinching finger. What a strange mystique! The genius from the Blue Devil clan also frowned. Although it was just a simple move, he could sense how terrifying his opponent was. In the blink of an eye, the two royals were glaring at Leaf Doudenier, Dustless, and the others. The two of them were still fearless as they confronted each other. The atmosphere in the sky became more and more tense. The elders and experts of the human race joined forces to set up a formation that covered a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles to protect the lives of the spectators. Otherwise, no one would dare to watch such a shocking battle. These people were all experts from the great sects of the Holy Lands. The array that they brought out was truly terrifying. It could definitely protect everyone. In the sky, the giant head of the southern sea crocodile god also turned. He said, "Gentlemen, give me some face today. After I kill that brat, the two of you can make your move." The Sky Pride of the Blood Moon clan nodded coldly. The Sky Pride of the Blue Devil clan also smiled. Fine, I'll give you face today and let you fight first." Their figures swayed. They stood on the clouds and looked down. Leaf Doudenier and Dustless retracted their gazes. Dustless chanted Amitabha and retreated as well. The two of them were still fearless. No matter when the battle started, they were ready to fight. However, now wasn't the time for them to make a move. Their gazes pierced through the clouds and looked into the distance. At the peak of the mountain, there was a young figure sitting cross-legged. Lin Xian sat on the peak with his eyes closed. His hands were forming hand seals, and his robes fluttered as if he were asleep. Endless spiritual energy was inhaled and exhaled with every breath he took. What had happened earlier didn't affect his cultivation. It was as if he'd already transcended the mortal world. Everyone's eyes were fixed on him. The Sky Pride of the Southern Sea Crocodile God clan did the same. He slowly turned his giant head and stared at the mountain below. "Kid, don't you think it's too late for you to cultivate now?" Two beams of piercing light shot out from his eyes and transformed into two flying swords. They pierced through the air and headed straight for Lin Xian. In the blink of an eye, they were right in front of Lin Xian. With a loud boom, the space around Lin Xian shattered rapidly. More than 10 large black holes appeared, bobbing up and down. However, Lin Xian still didn't react. He sat there as if he'd really fallen asleep. However, the mountain below him and himself weren't hurt at all. In fact, the two flying swords stopped completely when they were 1 meter away from him, as if they were caught by a pair of invisible hands. Huh! This scene stunned the Southern Sea Crocodile God clan. The others frowned as well. Buzz Lin Xian opened his eyes. Stars flickered in his eyes as he looked in front of him. Instantly, the two flying swords turned into dust and scattered between heaven and earth. In the next moment, he slowly stood up, shook his robes, looked around, and said calmly, "I'll cultivate every day at this time. It won't change just because you're here. All right, you can make your move now." Lin Xian's voice was soft, but everyone heard it clearly. This scene shocked everyone. especially the archaic creatures. Their faces were filled with shock. He would cultivate every day, and it wouldn't change just because the archaic paragon had arrived. This meant that he didn't care about this battle at all. He was treating it as if it was nothing. Impossible. Shouldn't he be nervous and afraid? Damn it. This kid must be hiding something. The archaic creatures sneered. The humans were also shocked. It seemed that Lin Xian was full of confidence. Kid, stop hiding. Don't pretend to be calm. I know you're scared because you're facing no one else but me. I'm a paragon of the archaic royal family. It's impossible for you to defeat me. The Southern Sea Crocodile God clan's voice was cold and emotionless. I know that you're Lin Xian, one of the top paragons of the human race. You have the honor of the human race on your shoulders. Therefore, you can't run. You have to fight. However, I advise you to obediently admit defeat. You'll lose your honor and you'll be able to keep your life. But if you fight me, you won't even be able to keep your life. What's the use of honor then? So, kneel down and kowtow to me. I'll spare your life. The Southern Sea Crocodile God clan seemed to have turned into a king, controlling the life and death of others. When the archaic creatures heard this, they laughed out loud. Did you hear that? Kid, kneel down and beg for mercy. You're just an ant. How can you be a match for the archaic royal family? There were quite a few archaic creatures who had come to spectate this time. At this moment, numerous voices rang out, sounding like mountain torrents as they shook the void. Chapter 28-24. Humph! A cold voice came from the sky. Lin Xian took a step forward and stood in the sky. Beg you for mercy? You think too much. Today, I'll tell you that the human race cannot be bullied. Tit for tat. Although the two of them didn't roar crazily, the smell of gunpowder was very strong. One of them was a high and mighty royal genius who wanted to trample on the human race and never make a comeback. The other was a human genius who carried the reputation and hope of the human race. The meaning and impact of the battle between the two of them was very far-reaching. Therefore, at this moment, countless pairs of eyes were watching from the sky. Even the sacred leaders, sect's supreme elders, and ancient powerhouses were watching. Although they weren't at the scene personally, they had already used arrays and various secret techniques to watch from afar. It could be said that the entire world was paying attention to this battle. Reckless guy, I'll let you know the consequences of going against me. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile Clan's genius. He revealed a sinister smile. There was no point in saying anything more. Let's fight. Lin Xian's body also emitted a biting cold light. The 9-yang divine body burned like the sun. Boom! 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 Buzz! In the sky, the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile Clan finally couldn't help but make a move. He stretched out a palm. This palm was too terrifying. It was like the palm of a giant spirit with terrifying energy. It pierced through heaven and earth and completely enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face was cold as he stood in the sky. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into an eternal being. The sword chi on his body also rushed out quickly. Rays of sword light shot into the sky. Clang! 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 Just the shockwave alone shattered the clouds in the sky. Boom! 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 Countless sword chi were blasted away and scattered in all directions. However, the giant spirit's palm was also blocked in midair and couldn't descend any further. This scene caused everyone to cry out in surprise. They were evenly matched. The human warriors heaved a sigh of relief. The ancient creatures' faces were gloomy. Damn it! He can actually fight against a royal genius. How is this possible? Brat, you have some ability. You were actually able to block my palm. However, it's a pity that I didn't use all of my strength in that palm strike. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile sneered. Is that so? No need to laugh. In a moment you will discover that even if you use all your strength, you still won't be able to shake me in the slightest. Lin Xian's voice was steady, but the sword light on his body had become even more piercingly cold. The ancient dragon abyss sword was also pulled out by him. The terrifying sword she spread out in all directions, as if a huge dragon had been awakened. You're courting death. The other party's arrogant attitude had truly angered him. The southern sea godly crocodile roared and struck out with his palm again. This time, the heavens fell and the earth cracked. It was as if a demonic god had gone mad. Heaven and earth shattered, experiencing a great destruction. Fortunately, the surroundings were still enveloped by the formation. Otherwise, such a terrifying attack would have long sunk the mountain range of hundreds of thousands of miles. As for the warriors below, other than those at the very top, the rest would be killed. Kill! Lin Xian roared and executed the yin-yang 8 steps. Along with the terrifying ancient sword, he charged forward. Sword after sword split the heavens and earth, colliding with the huge palms and exploding with unparalleled power. The two of them exchanged blows quickly, shaking the heavens and the earth. In the sky, the huge body rotated, and every strike could kill an elite. Even the unrivaled kings didn't dare to get close. However, Lin Xian was able to deal with it calmly. His speed was simply too fast, so fast that it was dazzling to the eyes. Very few people were able to capture his movements. The others couldn't see it clearly at all. They could only see huge cracks appearing one after another. The southern sea godly crocodile roared crazily. In an instant, thousands of attacks had landed on his body. Every attack landed on his body, causing his blood to boil and his bones to tremble. Damn it! With a roar, the dark clouds in the sky rumbled. His huge body shrunk rapidly and finally became a human figure. He had a human crocodile head and looked extremely ferocious. In his hands he held 2 huge axes. As he waved them around, his aura could swallow mountains and rivers. Lin Xian's body swayed and retreated a few thousand miles away. He sneered. Aren't you the southern sea godly crocodile? Why did you transform into a human? Didn't you look down on us humans? Why? Don't you have confidence in your true body? If that's the case, you can submit to the human race in the future. I can teach you a few skills. Damn it! The southern sea godly crocodile was about to go crazy. Smoke was coming out of his head. He had no choice. His true body was too big, and his opponent was too fast. The sword she had broken through his suppression and reached him. The blood in his body was boiling, and his bones were about to break. That was why he shrunk his body and transformed into a human. That way, even if his opponent was fast, he might not be able to hurt him. However, his opponent took advantage of that and mocked him. He couldn't refute that. That was because he was indeed in his human form. Therefore, he could only rush over with bloodshot eyes and 2 giant axes in his hands. The axes fell, splitting the sky and earth. The sky was filled with axe shadows, making one feel despair. At the same time, his terrifying crocodile head opened from time to time and spat out balls of energy storms. Lin Xian, on the other hand, swung his long sword to fight back. The axe shadows that filled the sky were all destroyed by the sword light, and the energy storms were blown away by his punch. Show me your ultimate move. This attack can't threaten me, Lin Xian said coldly as he swung his sword again and knocked back his opponent's axes. The southern sea godly crocodile snorted. His eyes shone with a piercing cold light. He knew that it was time to use his ultimate move. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do anything to his opponent. Everyone held their breaths. The immemorial creatures were also shocked. In the sky, the prodigies of the Blood Knight clan and the Blue Demon clan also had solemn expressions. To think that this Lin Xian of the human race would be this formidable. However, they didn't care. From the looks of it, the southern sea crocodile god hadn't used his full strength yet. When he used his ultimate move, Lin Xian probably wouldn't be able to fight back. Buzz! As the southern sea crocodile god's aura exploded, the void behind him cracked open, forming a terrifying crack. It connected the 9 heavens and the earth, as if it was going to tear the sky apart. Whoosh! Endless light spewed out from that crack. Then, a blurry figure walked out of the crack as if it had traveled through time. It was emitting an aura. The shadow of the crocodile ancestor. It was the shadow of the crocodile ancestor. Many archaic creatures screamed. Even the 2 prodigies, Blood Moon and Blue Devil, were stunned. They didn't expect the Southern Sea crocodile god to use such a terrifying ultimate move. Chapter 28-25. It seemed like the Southern Sea divine crocodile was truly enraged. He wanted to kill Lin Fan. Shuiyu sneered. Lan Mo sneered as well. If he dies, his soul will be mine. The 2 of them sneered because they believed that Lin Xian was no match for the Southern Sea divine crocodile. The people of the human race were astonished. The aura of that figure was simply too terrifying. It was even scarier than the Southern Sea divine crocodile himself. Even the older generation figures felt their scalps go numb. Damn it! The power of the Southern Sea divine crocodile's bloodline was too strong. What he summoned was an ancestral awakening phantom. Lin Xian frowned as well. It wasn't his first time seeing an ancestral awakening phantom. The last time he saw it, it was the War Tribe's prodigy who summoned the War Tribe's old ancestor. But this time, the ancestral awakening phantom summoned by the Southern Sea divine crocodile was even scarier. It seemed like the ancestral awakening phantom had something to do with the power of one's bloodline and one's own strength. His guess was right. The stronger one's bloodline power was, the stronger one's cultivation would be, and the more powerful the atavistic shadow would be. Hee, kid, go to hell. After summoning the ancestral awakening phantom, the Southern Sea divine crocodile sneered as he swung his axe down. The ancestral awakening phantom behind him did the same. Boom! With the support of the ancestral awakening phantom, the power of the axe was terrifying. It could split the heavens and earth, and its power was much stronger than before. A terrifying aura enveloped the entire area, causing everyone to tremble. Even those pillars began to tremble violently. Heavens, what is this thing? How could it be so terrifying? Damn it, this guy is too scary. Is this the strength of a royal prodigy? He was hiding so much of his strength. Is that Lin Xian in danger? When the axe fell, the people below cried out in surprise. They felt that the axe was simply too powerful. Even invincible kings couldn't withstand it, and the older generation figures couldn't take it. Can that Lin Xian withstand it? Even Yu Wudao, the Alcade sage, Dustless, and the others look serious. Ancestral awakening phantom? Let's see if your shadow is stronger or my dragon shadow is stronger. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Boom! He directly summoned the great dragon sword soul, and a dragon shadow appeared in front of him, circling the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The terrifying aura caused the entire world to tremble. Even the huge axe in the sky had stopped moving, as if it had entered a quagmire. Its speed was terrifyingly slow. Damn it, what is this thing? As of this moment, the faces of Leaf Dao Denier, Sage Sun Alcade, Dustless, the Blood Moon clan, the Blue Devil clan, and the Heavenly Sect all flickered. This was especially true for the ancient creature. It was so terrified that it couldn't help but tremble. Damn it, hold it in! These people roared crazily, but they realized that they couldn't control their bodies. Even their souls were being suppressed. The blood moon in the celestial palace quickly bloomed with light, wanting to crush everything. The prodigy of the Blue Devil clan also had a serious expression on his face. Mysterious runes appeared on his body one after another. They were also resisting this force. Damn it, that's a dragon! Their faces turned ugly. They didn't expect the other party to have such means. On the other side, the Southern Sea crocodile god's expression also changed. He felt a great sense of danger from the dragon's shadow. It seemed to be able to threaten his life. Damn it, this kid has bloodline power too. And it's actually related to dragons. How is this possible? He was too shocked. The dragon clan was the royal clan. They were even more terrifying. However, other than the nest of 10,000 dragons, only some flood dragons were related to the dragon clan. How could this human be related to the dragon clan? He really couldn't understand. Buzz! Lin Xian held the dragon-shaped sword shadow and slashed out. The entire sky trembled. The ground was directly pierced through, the mountains trembled, and the sun and moon lost their light. Even the arrays dimmed, as if they would shatter at any moment. Damn it, get lost! The southern sea crocodile god roared. The giant axe in his hand fell again, turning into mountains that fell from the sky. Boom! The two's attack was earth-shattering. Even with the protection of the array, many people vomited blood and were sent flying. There was nothing they could do. These two were too terrifying. After the attack, the two of them retreated. However, it was obvious that the southern sea crocodile god retreated further. His arm was numb, and the giant axe in his hand almost fell out of his hand. This made it difficult for him to be confident. Could it be that the other party's strength was stronger than his? Damn it, I don't believe it! True Tai water! Go to hell! He roared angrily, and the sky above his head spun rapidly, forming a huge vortex. Then, there was a rumbling sound. Terrifying black seawater fell from the sky, covering the entire sky. It whistled and swept towards Lin Xian. A drop of true Tai water could crush the void. At this moment, the true Tai water had turned into an ocean. Its power was incomparably terrifying. Even the expressions of the older generation changed. Damn it, strengthen the array! They attacked crazily. Fortunately, there were enough human powerhouses this time, and they brought enough treasures. That was why the array could withstand it. Otherwise, if the true Tai water fell, everything within 1,000,000 miles would turn into nothingness. Blazing sun! Lin Xian stood in the sky, activating the 9-yang divine constitution to the extreme. Balls of 9-yang divine fire danced on his body. At this moment, he was like the sun, emitting a dazzling light. It was so dazzling that those people could not open their eyes. Some people even wanted to force themselves to look, but their eyes bled and they screamed on the ground. The sun-like divine fire shone in all directions, spreading in all directions. It collided with the true Tai water, and there was an intense sound of fighting. Suddenly, white smoke rose between heaven and earth. The 9-yang divine body was a body of the purest yang. Lin Xian had cultivated it using all kinds of heavenly treasures and extremely terrifying methods. Although it had only reached the second level, its power was still terrifying. The 9-yang divine fire that it carried was truly terrifying. Even the true Tai water could not break it. Countless large cracks appeared in the sky, and it was a scene of apocalypse. Outside was endless black seawater that shook heaven and earth. Inside, there was a terrifying divine fire that directly enveloped Lin Xian. It made it impossible for the true Tai water to get close. Those that got close were all evaporated into white vapor, turning into clouds that drifted between heaven and earth. True Tai water? It was only SOSO. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a biting cold light burst out from his eyes. He used the yin-yang 8 steps and charged forward. His body was covered in the 9-yang divine fire, and he slashed forward. Coupled with the power of the great dragon sword soul, it was truly terrifying to the extreme. In an instant, he forcefully killed a bloody path out of the true Tai water. Chapter 28-26. Whoosh! In the sky, the true Tai water was mercilessly torn apart and retreated to the sides. Lin Xian had already arrived beside the South Sea divine crocodile. He stretched out his hand like the hand of a god and grabbed forward. His fingers were like a long dragon, carrying terrifying divine fire and sword chi. They directly enveloped the South Sea divine crocodile's head. He wanted to crush the crocodile's head. Seeing this scene, the South Sea divine crocodile was scared out of his wits. He roared angrily and quickly dodged. However, the palm was too cold. He couldn't completely dodge it. Although he avoided the vital part of his head, half of his body was still covered. Pfft! One of his arms was grabbed by Lin Xian's palm and immediately torn off. Blood splattered everywhere, dyeing the sky red. Ah! The South Sea divine crocodile let out a miserable roar. His body swayed and tore apart the starry clouds in the sky. However, he couldn't stop the fact that his arm was torn off. He retreated crazily. His eyes were bloodshot, and he emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Everyone around was stunned when they saw this scene. They couldn't believe it at all. In particular, the primordial creatures were even more stunned. The South Sea divine crocodile was injured. How was that possible? That was a royal from the primordial era. Moreover, he had even summoned an atavism projection. How powerful was that? But now, one of his arms was torn off. That kid was too terrifying. His attack power was so strong. The prodigies of the Blood Moon clan had ugly expressions. The prodigies of the Blue Demons also had flickering eyes. Yu Wudao, Wuchen, the Yaoguang sage, and the others also had serious expressions. The stars in their eyes flickered as they deduced Lin Xian's movement technique and the timing of his attack. That's great! Big Brother Lin Xian is awesome! On the other side, Xin Jingqiu cheered happily. Murong Qingqing also smiled. She knew that Big Brother Xian wouldn't lose. The others discussed animatedly. Too powerful, as expected of the Central Emperor. That's great! Great God Lin Xian, kill him! That's right! Next time, I'll grab his head and let him be arrogant again! The supporters of Lin Xian cheered wildly. Brat, you dare to hurt me? I want you dead! The Southern Sea godly crocodile was so angry that he went crazy. Killing intent surged from his body, piercing through the clouds. Blood gushed out of the severed arm as a new arm grew out. However, even though his body had recovered, the pain in his heart and his overflowing killing intent could not be extinguished. He had to personally tear this despicable brat to shreds. Lin Xian threw away the arm in his hand. Then, the Nine Suns' divine fire pounced on it and burned it completely. He looked ahead and sneered. Was this the strength of a primordial royal genius? That was all there was to it. What right do you have to be so arrogant towards the human race? Like I said, the human race is not a pity. If you don't pay the price today, don't even think about leaving. At the end of his speech, the sword aura on Lin Xian's body suddenly erupted, transforming into an azure dragon that soared into the clouds. This scene was too terrifying. Tens of thousands of sword shadows circled around his body. There was a world-destroying crisis. Tyrant Fist of the Heavens. On the other side, the Southern Sea crocodile god charged over once again. His eyes were bloodshot, and when he blinked, there was a terrifying killing intent. This punch was so powerful that it could swallow mountains and rivers. It was as if a demonic god had been awakened. Not only that, the shadow behind him also threw out a punch. When the two forces merged together, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. It was enough to destroy everything. The entire place was trembling as a terrifying force surged out from it. At this moment, the Southern Sea crocodile god seemed to have transformed into a demonic god that overlooked the earth. The crowd trembled once again. Although the Southern Sea crocodile god was being suppressed, there were no signs of him losing. In the end, it was still not certain who would emerge victorious in this battle. The Tyrant Fist of the Firmament was an extremely overbearing fist technique. When the Southern Sea crocodile god used it, it was definitely terrifying. I don't believe that the brat can block it. The Blood Knight clan's genius said softly. His eyes grew brighter and brighter. Tyrant Fist of the Firmament? It was indeed a good fist technique. Lin Xian exclaimed. This fist technique was even more overbearing than the divine fighting fist that he had obtained. It was even more violent. As expected of a primordial royal. However, it did not matter. He had to win this battle. At the thought of this, his eyes shone with a cold light. He quickly formed a seal with his hands. As he waved his hands, endless sword light surrounded him. Then, it turned into a shadow and charged forward. This illusory figure flipped its mouth in the sky along with the palm. Then, it appeared in the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Even the ancient creature's eyelids twitched wildly, and they were stunned on the spot. The southern sea crocodile god was so angry that he vomited blood. That damned brat! He had gone too far. He was furious because Lin Xian had used his sword qi to form a crocodile. It was a huge crocodile that was exactly the same as his original body. How dare he use his original body to attack him? The southern sea crocodile god was furious. He swore that he would make Lin Xian suffer. Kid, do you think that you can defeat me like this? You've underestimated me. The southern sea crocodile god roared. The tyrant fist of the firmament became even more terrifying. He would not be affected by such provocation. However, he was wrong. Lin Xian was not provoking him. Instead, he was using the great dragon's sword soul to simulate all the power to attack. The crocodile's shadow was extremely terrifying. It was like an ancient demon mountain that rampaged in the sky and collided with the tyrant fist of the firmament. The void trembled and distorted before shattering. The 9 heavens and 10 lands were filled with wind and clouds. The terrifying fist shadow blocked the crocodile's shadow and roared in all directions. The tyrant fist of the firmament was broken. Damn it, how can it be so powerful? The southern sea crocodile god kept retreating with an ugly expression. For a moment, he even felt that he was not facing a human, but a prodigy of his own race. Damn it, this is too real. How did he do it? What happened next was even more shocking. In fact, not only the southern sea crocodile god, but the prodigies of the blood moon race and the blue demon race were also shocked. Their faces were terrifyingly gloomy. They could not wait to kill that detestable kid in front of them. Lin Xian waved his sword and countless sword qi intertwined in the air, forming a blood moon. The moon was huge and red, emitting a strange light. It was even brighter than the blood moon formed by the prodigies of the blood moon race. A blood moon! The prodigies of the human race exclaimed in disbelief. The prodigy of the blood moon race's face also darkened. He was so angry that he vomited blood. Damn it, how dare he use the divine power of the blood moon race? He deserves to die. As Lin Xian swung his long sword, the blood-red moon descended from the sky like a blood-red mountain that came crashing down. It collided with the southern sea crocodile god again. The southern sea crocodile god waved his 2 giant axes and controlled the shadow of the crocodile ancestor to fight back. Chapter 28-27. The axe collided with the blood-colored moon again and again, causing a deafening explosion. Damn it, how can he be so powerful? The southern sea divine crocodile was shocked. He felt as if he was fighting against a prodigy of the Blood Moon clan. The power of the blood-colored moon was too terrifying. Impossible, who is this kid? How did he do it? How can he evolve such a terrifying divine power? The southern sea divine crocodile finally panicked. The blood-colored moon continued to descend, and every inch of space was compressed and shrouded by the blood-colored light. The sharp aura it carried made the southern sea divine crocodile tremble. Many cracks appeared on his palm. The power was too strong, and he could not hold his weapon. Boom! The blood-colored moon completely pressed down, forcing the southern sea divine crocodile back. A few cracks appeared on the southern sea divine crocodile's body, and he was injured again. Damn it! The southern sea divine crocodile's face was gloomy. Hegemonic heavenly axe. He used an extremely terrifying cultivation technique and charged over again. Lin Xian's longsword changed again. This time, it was not a blood-colored moon, but a giant. It was an indomitable giant that was tens of thousands of feet tall. Its body was as blue as crystal, with a single horn on its head and wings on its back. Its face was ferocious. It was the appearance of the Blue Demon clan, but it had been enlarged countless times. Damn kid, how dare you! The Blue Demon clan's prodigy instantly roared. He was so angry that his body trembled, and he even wanted to charge over and kill his opponent. However, he was stopped by Dustless's Buddhist light. What, you want to attack me together? I don't mind extraditing you. Dustless's indifferent voice sounded. Humph. The Blue Demon Clan's prodigy snorted and did not attack again. However, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. He swore that if he had the chance, he would kill his opponent with his own hands. After Lin Xian used the dragon's sword soul to evolve the blue giant, he began to attack. The weapon in the blue giant's hand turned into an azure dragon and charged forward. It collided with the heaven-splitting divine axe. With a clang, a resplendent light exploded. The Southern Sea divine crocodile cried out in anger. He realized that the divine power that his opponent had evolved was too powerful. He could not block it. Damn it, I don't believe it! Fusion! With a roar, the crocodile god behind him merged into his body. Immediately, millions upon millions of rays of light erupted from his body. It was as if at that moment, he had transformed into an eternity of time. An even more violent and ferocious power erupted. 27,000 units of Archean power. The Sky Pride of the Blood Moon clan had a solemn expression. The Blue Devil prodigy's eyes flickered. That's right, the strength he displayed right now was definitely above 27,000 units of Archean power. In fact, he might even be able to reach 28,000 units of Archean power. As expected of the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile. What a powerful bloodline! What a terrifying bloodline phantom! One had to know that the other party was only from the younger generation, not an expert of the older generation. He had not cultivated for long before falling into a deep slumber. Now that he had awakened, he was still very young. However, he was actually able to erupt with the power of 28,000 units of the ancient era. This was truly terrifying. Most likely, not many of the young prodigies of the human clan would be able to contend against him. In fact, they felt that no one would be able to contend against him. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes as a golden light flickered in his eyes. 28,000 units of Archean power? It was indeed very powerful. In his normal state, he only had 25,000 units of Archean power. However, that was only his normal state. After summoning the Great Dragon Sword Soul, his combat strength had soared to the limit. One had to know that the Silver Lightning race's Archean powerhouse had lost 30,000 units of Archean power to him. Not to mention the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile in front of him. Kid, go to hell! After fusing with the crocodile ancestor's phantom, the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile was incomparably powerful. With a swing of his axe, he directly chopped the blue giant into two halves. Countless large cracks appeared on the ground. Heaven and earth rumbled non-stop. Nothing could stop it. It was so terrifying. Its power had already surpassed Lin Xian's. Seeing that the other party had easily broken Lin Xian's attack, the Sky Prides of the human clan exclaimed in shock. The older generation figures had worried looks on their faces. However, the surrounding Archean creatures laughed out loud. Kid, go to hell. The human clan can only crawl at our feet. They were too excited because soon, Lin Xian of the human clan would be killed by their Sky Prides. In the sky, the terrifying axe descended. It was as if the sky and earth were splitting apart, enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the Yin-Yang 8 steps and his speed was extremely fast. He turned into a stream of light and kept dodging, quickly dodging all the attacks. Clang! However, at this moment, the Southern Sea Crocodile god opened its terrifying crocodile head and spat out a terrifying bolt of lightning that blasted onto Lin Xian's body. It directly sent Lin Xian flying. After smashing through countless mountains, Lin Xian fell into the ruins that filled the sky. Oh no, he was hit! That should be the crocodile god's light. It was also a terrifying ability. After being hit, even an invincible king would be immediately pierced and killed. That kid definitely wouldn't survive. Even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Humph, he's dead meat. No one can compete with the primordial royal family. The primordial creatures sneered. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu exclaimed. Yi Wudo and the others were also shocked. The other human experts discussed animatedly. They all looked at the ruins in the distance. Was Lin Xian really going to lose? Could it be that the primordial royal family sky brides were really that terrifying? They couldn't believe it. Because previously, Lin Xian had been incomparably strong and had the upper hand. At one point, he even injured the Southern Sea Crocodile God. However, after the Southern Sea Crocodile God activated his bloodline power and fused with the primordial shadow, he became so strong. Could this be why the primordial royal family was so terrifying? The other party was too terrifying. Just the shadow in his bloodline already had such terrifying power. And that was only the royal family. It was rumored that the royal family had people on the same level as the emperor who were about to appear. When such a person appeared, who could compete with him? These people's faces were filled with despair. The Southern Sea Crocodile God also looked up to the sky and laughed. Lowly ant, I won't let you die so easily. I'll cut you up piece by piece. I'll let you bleed to the last drop of blood. He was too angry. Previously, the other party had dared to injure him. He definitely wouldn't let him go. Is that so? You're very confident in your attack, huh? The next moment, a cold voice sounded behind the Southern Sea Crocodile God. What? The Southern Sea Crocodile God's body stiffened, and a look of shock appeared in his eyes. The others were also stunned and looked up at the sky. Damn it, impossible! The Southern Sea Crocodile God suddenly turned around, and a piercing cold light burst out from his eyes. The next moment, he screamed as if he had seen a ghost. Not far behind him, Lin Xian stood there, his black hair fluttering in the wind. He didn't look injured at all. Damn it, impossible! That's impossible! How can you not be injured? Chapter 28. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile was stunned. He knew that his opponent might not die, but he would be severely injured. His Crocodile Divine Light could definitely break his opponent's body, but his opponent was unharmed. He didn't even spit out a mouthful of blood. That was too heaven-defying. Could it be that he didn't hit his opponent just now? He knew that his opponent had the 9-yang divine body, but he was more confident in his attack. One had to know that he had fused with the crocodile ancestor's shadow. He was confident that his attack could break through a sacred body, let alone the 9-yang divine body. Why? Were you surprised? Lin Xian sneered. Do you really think that you can hurt me just because you've fused with the primordial divine shadow? Let me tell you, you're still far from it. Your primordial royal family is no match for me. If you want to fight with me, let your primordial royal family come. Today I'll start with you. Lin Xian's voice resounded in all directions. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. The expressions of the 10,000 Archean race changed. The primordial royal family was no match for him. If you want to fight, let the primordial royal family come. Heavens, he actually dared to say such a thing. Could it be that he wanted to die? The primordial royal family were the descendants of the emperors, the descendants of the emperors. Even the primordial royal family didn't dare to provoke such a person. How dare he say that he wanted to fight with him? Humph, who do you think you are? How dare you fight with the primordial royal family? Today I'll kill you. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile's face was gloomy. So what if his opponent wasn't injured? With his current strength, he could completely suppress his opponent. He didn't believe that his opponent's physique would always be so strong. One day, he would be able to split his opponent's body. Thinking of this, he waved the giant axe in his hand and attacked again. Terrifying energy surged, and heaven and earth trembled again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. It's only 28,000 Archean power. You don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. He was right. In the next moment, endless light burst out from his eyes as he crazily circulated the great dragon sword soul. Roar, roar, roar! Dragon roars rang out. The great dragon sword soul seemed to have come to life. It turned into an azure dragon and danced around. At this moment, Lin Xian was extremely powerful. Just his sword chi alone was enough to make everyone present tremble. Even Leaf Doudenier and the others had very serious expressions on their faces. The expressions of the sacred leaders, sect leaders, and grand elders who were watching all changed. This kid's strength was terrifying. What exactly was this dragon shadow? Could it really be that thing? The eyes of the Yi clan, Gu clan, and the other clan leaders shone brightly, as if they could see through the void, wanting to see everything clearly. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile's expression changed. How was it possible that his opponent could increase his combat power? Could it be that the other party really did not use his full strength when fighting with him earlier? He couldn't believe it. One had to know that he had already fused with the primordial shadow. Every move he made contained boundless power. However, he was still unable to injure the other party. However, now that his opponent had increased his combat strength, would he still be able to contend against him? He didn't know. He held the heaven-splitting axe in his hand, and a fierce aura burst out. I don't believe it! He really didn't believe that he would have to gamble the glory of the royal family to fight with his opponent. He believed that the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan would not lose to his opponent. This was a terrifying collision. The power of the two was too strong, and cracks appeared on the array. It scared the others so much that their scalps went numb, and they retreated crazily. Fortunately, a peerless powerhouse joined forces in the end. Only then did the array stabilize. However, the space inside shattered and turned into nothingness. Roar! A terrifying dragon's roar rang out as it emerged from the void, forming an eternal peerless sword light. It destroyed everything. The heaven-splitting axe was cut in half, and the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile was also cut in half. Ah! The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile screamed crazily, trying to heal himself. However, the aura of the great dragon sword soul was too strong. Even he could not heal himself. Although his body had fused together, if one looked closely, they would see that the two bodies had not healed. There was a terrifying crack in the middle, and sword chi was swimming on it. Damn it! The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile screamed crazily, and fear appeared in his eyes. He had actually lost in this exchange. His opponent had cut him in half, and even his soul had been severely injured. Fortunately, he had used a secret technique to protect his soul at the critical moment. Otherwise, he would have been in real danger. There was a black bell above his head, and it emitted mysterious runes that shrouded his soul. He's not dead? That's really surprising. Lin Xian was also very surprised. His opponent's soul should have been destroyed by the sword just now. However, his opponent was still alive. He narrowed his eyes when he saw the black bell. Ancient treasures? Although the other party did not bring out many treasures, the heaven-splitting axe and the black bell were both incomparably profound. This was especially true for the black bell, which gave him a soul-stirring power. It seemed to be very dangerous. As expected, the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile controlled the black bell and shot out a mysterious and terrifying rune. It pierced through the sword chi that filled the sky. The black rune quickly arrived in front of Lin Xian. Die, brat! Lin Xian's pupils constricted when he heard the ferocious voice. In the next moment, he swung the dragon-shaped sword and slashed at the black rune, completely destroying it. It's just a rune. Do you think you can hurt me? Lin Xian held the dragon-shaped sword again and attacked. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile's eyelids twitched. He was extremely shocked. That was not an ordinary bell. It was a half-saint artifact with Taoist runes on it. It was extremely strange and impossible to guard against. It was even used to kill souls. However, his opponent's soul was fine, and the sword in his hand was able to destroy his soul attack. What exactly was that? One had to know that even a half-saint artifact could not destroy a soul attack. Unless it was a half-saint artifact that was related to the soul. However, in the previous battle, he felt that the sword was not a treasure chi that was related to soul attacks. However, his opponent was able to do that, which terrified him. This battle was over. Lin Xian held the killing sword and came to the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile's side. Dozens of sword lights slashed out, and the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile fled crazily. He did not dare to take them head-on. His body had not healed yet. He roared and took out his ancient treasures to block the attacks. The terrifying shield, the terrifying flying sword, and the terrifying berserk blade were all infused with his power. These things could easily kill an invincible king. Even the primordial geniuses could not fight against them. However, in front of Lin Xian, he was sent flying. In the end, the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile's body was cut into 36 pieces and scattered in the sky. He could not reassemble at all. I said that it's over. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light as he slashed out again. Chapter 28-29. That sword strike was extremely terrifying. It was even more powerful than before. It would appear that Lin Xian's killing intent had been aroused, and he wanted to eliminate Lin Xian. Oh no! The expressions of the Blood Moon and Blue Demons changed when they saw that. Was Lin Xian really going to kill him? How dare he? The primordial creatures screamed crazily. Damned brat, stop! How dare you! On the side of the human race, their hearts were pounding wildly. Was Lin Xian going to kill a royal prodigy? This was truly an earth-shattering event. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile was scared out of his wits. He did not expect Lin Xian to really kill him. Was Lin Xian not afraid of the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan's revenge? He was a royal prodigy. Once the royal prodigies were angry, all living beings would be killed and blood would dye the sky red. However, the sword still slashed down and sliced his body apart again. Damn it, brat, I won't let you off. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan was very decisive. His soul abandoned his physical body and entered the Black Bell. Then, the Black Bell emitted a black light and countless Taoist patterns. It shattered the void and tried to escape. Lin Xian snorted and extended a large hand that turned into a dragon shadow. It pierced through the void and chased after the Black Bell. In an instant, he enveloped the Black Bell. Oh no! The primordial creature's expressions changed. The human powerhouses also held their breaths. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan screamed. Damn it, how dare you stop me! The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan will not let you off. If you kill me, the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan will slaughter the entire human race. Blood will flow all over the land. His voice made the human warriors' faces turn pale. They knew that Lin Xian was telling the truth. The wrath of an archaic royal was truly irresistible. Lin Xian's voice was cold. I've said it before. The human race is not to be bullied. His body emitted a biting cold aura as the sword chi on his body kept attacking. The Black Bell trembled, and countless Taoist patterns on it were in a mess. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan was really afraid. Lin Xian was determined to kill him. What should he do? Seeing the Taoist patterns on the Black Bell gradually being worn away, the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan's Taoists screamed in fear again. Blood Moon, Blue Devil, hurry and save me! My Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan will definitely reward you greatly. He had no choice but to seek help from the other ancient royal families. While the other party was terrifying, as long as the other geniuses of the Tai nation's royal families were to intervene, they would definitely be able to save him. Shui Yu's and Lan Mo's eyes flickered. Cold auras emanated from their bodies. They were about to attack. 1. Off to the side, Leaf Doudenier and Dustless were also ready to attack. However, before these young geniuses could do anything, the sky suddenly split open, and the surrounding formations began to tremble violently. Cracks appeared in many places, and many people were instantly reduced to ashes. An extremely terrifying sense of danger permeated the air, shrouding the entire sky. A terrifying murderous aura swept out in all directions like a peerless divine light. At this moment, everyone was trembling. Many people were lying on the ground, unable to resist at all. The faces of those experts were filled with fear. Damn it, who was it? Who made a move? It was actually so terrifying. Not good. A peerless expert has made his move. The experts of the human race were also shocked. They once again took out peerless formations and set them up to resist the terrifying aura. In the sky, A huge palm slapped down with ruthless power. It was burning with terrifying light as it descended from the sky, enveloping Lin Xian. Not good. His target was Lin Xian. At this moment, everyone's hearts were pounding wildly. A peerless expert wanted to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He snorted coldly, and used the yin-yang 8 steps to pass through the void. The dragon sword spirit shattered the space and escaped quickly. He gave up on the Southern Sea Divine Crocodile clan because that palm was too terrifying. It was definitely above 30,000 Archean power. Boom! After that attack, the space where Lin Xian was previously shattered and turned into nothingness. The black bell was saved by the terrifying palm. Kid, I will definitely not let you off. The Southern Sea Divine Crocodile's vicious voice rang out. The great bell disappeared. In the sky, the black palm did not disappear. Instead, its aura became even more terrifying, causing everyone to tremble. Yu Wadao, Dustless, the All-Kid Saint Sun, and the others all had grave expressions. This was definitely not someone from the younger generation. It was definitely someone from the older generation. Moreover, they guessed that it was someone from the ancient race that had made a move. Finally, what they were worried about had happened. Some of the older generation figures sighed. They had already said that things that were too hard were easy to break. Lin Xian's strength was too heaven-defying. He had killed many Archean geniuses, and now he wanted to kill a king race genius. This had definitely angered the ancient race powerhouses. Now, the other party wanted to kill Lin Xian. Damn it, how shameless! Many human martial artists were enraged. The younger generation couldn't beat Lin Xian, so they sent the older generation to assassinate him. Was this the ancient race? How laughable! Where were the human race's powerhouses? The older generation figures shook their heads and sighed. They couldn't resist. This wasn't an ordinary ancient powerhouse, but an extremely terrifying existence. Moreover, it was an invincible king of the ancient era. Just a single palm was enough to suppress them. They couldn't even lift their heads. Perhaps even the holy sect master wouldn't be able to defeat him. Could it be that Lin Xian was really going to fall here today? Everyone began to discuss. Murong Qingqing and Xinjing Qiu's expressions changed. The martial artists of Immortal Palace were also crazily roaring. Palace Master! The Crimson Dragon's figure flickered, arriving beside Lin Xian. They both looked up at the sky. Lin Xian's face was dark. He didn't think that the ancient race powerhouses would actually make a move to kill him at this time. This was truly beyond his expectations. One had to know that they were in front of everyone. How could the other party act so recklessly? How shameless! Lin Xian sneered. Which race are you from? Let me see just who is so shameless. Facing the ancient race powerhouse, Lin Xian was still fearless. He even mocked him. This scene caused everyone's scalps to go numb. The ancient being sneered. Kid, you're about to die, yet you're still so stubborn. Let's see how you'll die later. As expected, the giant palm in the sky emitted an even colder aura. With a single palm, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's figures flickered as they dodged once more. However, at this moment, Lin Xian's body was also fiercely impacted. The 9-yang divine body rumbled, blocking all the energy. However, Lin Xian's expression was ugly. The Crimson Dragon beside him roared. F***ck, how shameless can you be? Ancient race? You've lost all face. Are you bullying the weak? You want your own race's geniuses to step onto the path of Emperor? Do you think that by killing him, your geniuses will become stronger? How laughable! The Crimson Dragon roared incessantly, emitting an endless dragon's might. The giant palm in the sky bobbed up and down. A cold voice rang out from the clouds. Chapter 2830. Although you're from the dragon race, you have nothing to do with the nest of 10,000 dragons. Since we're both from the ancient race, I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll kill you, peel off your dragon skin, and drink your dragon blood. This ancient powerhouse had clearly figured out the Crimson Dragon's background. Therefore, even in the face of the dragon's might, he wasn't afraid. Damn it, how dare you threaten Ben Wang? Just you wait. Once I reach the greater success stage, I'll definitely destroy your nest. The Crimson Dragon cursed. However, he also knew the danger of the situation. He turned to Lin Xian and said, "Kid, hurry up and leave." This was definitely not someone from the younger generation. This was an extremely terrifying ancient king. Let's leave and think about it. As soon as the Crimson Dragon finished speaking, a cold laugh came from the sky. You can leave, but that kid has to stay. What? Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. The human powerhouse's heart beat wildly. It seemed that the other party was indeed targeting Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face also darkened. The other party was actually so blunt. Did they really think that he was easy to bully? He snorted coldly, and a biting cold light erupted from his body. The dragon sword's spirit roared continuously, resisting the terrifying palm in the sky and the terrifying pressure. Little guy, let's go. Come with me to the ancient race to drink tea. The voice in the sky sneered, and the palm fell, smashing towards Lin Xian. He said that he was going to drink tea, but it seemed that if he was caught in the ancient race, he would definitely be torn to pieces. No, I don't like drinking tea, Lin Xian said coldly. At the same time, his body flickered, and countless illusions appeared as he dodged quickly. A sword broke through the void, and Lin Xian's body appeared in another place. However, this time, it wasn't the young Tian Xiao, but the ancient race. It was extremely terrifying. Even though Lin Xian tore through the void, he still couldn't escape this terrifying palm. Not good, Lin Xian was probably really in danger. That's right. Unless someone helped him, he wouldn't be able to fight against the primordial king with his current strength. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. But would those elders from the Holy Lands really offend the primordial king and help Lin Xian? The answer was definitely impossible. Damn it! Lin Xian also roared angrily and took out the saint's hand bone, the 9-layered pagoda, and the flower protector to protect his surroundings and stabilize the void. The great dragon sword spirit roared as it laid down countless sword lights around him. It's useless. Stop struggling. You can't escape. Another voice sounded, and a second terrifying palm appeared in the sky. The terrifying killing intent seemed to want to destroy this world. What? There's another archaic king? Everyone was stupefied. 2 archaic kings attacking at the same time. This was a fatal blow. Most likely, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to dodge it. In the sky, 2 giant claws erupted with terrifying divine power. They descended from the sky and completely enveloped Lin Xian. This time, even the Crimson Dragon was affected. He roared crazily and resisted. The other party's strength was too strong. It seemed to be at the level of a holy lord or sect master. With their current strength, they couldn't resist such a person. Lin Xian also roared. His body bloomed with light, and his sword chi became even more biting cold. He felt boundless pressure pressing down on him. Many cracks appeared on his body, and blood instantly dyed his body red. Scram! With a roar, the great dragon sword spirit roared, and the 9-yan divine body emitted billions of rays of light, preventing him from being crushed into a bloody mist. Even so, it was still very dangerous. Because the 2 hands hadn't really landed. If they did, the power would be 10 times stronger than now. Die, kid! In the distance, the archaic creatures sneered. The humans were shocked. Yi Wudo and the others had solemn expressions. Murong Qingqing and Shi Jingqiu's faces turned incomparably pale. Light shone from their bodies, and they were about to attack. However, even with the 2 of them, they couldn't resist the divine power of the archaic kings. Moreover, what was even more terrifying was that the 3rd archaic king had made his move. At this moment, everyone was in despair. The Crimson Dragon roared crazily. Lin Xian's face was gloomy to the extreme. 3 archaic kings, 3 holy lords, had attacked him. They didn't give him any chance of survival at all. Who was it? Which archaic races were they? How could they be so ruthless? He swore that when he found out, he wouldn't be polite. He would slaughter all the geniuses of these 3 races. Kid, stop struggling. You don't have a chance. In the sky, 3 giant palms blotted out the sun and sunk the sun and moon. The scene was terrifying. The wounds on Lin Xian's body were even more terrifying. It seemed that his body was about to shatter. Buzz! At this moment, a ray of light lit up in the sky and turned into an eternal light, piercing through the 3 giant palms. Pfft! Blood spurted out, dyeing the sky red. This scene caused everyone to be stupefied. The human race's warriors were dumbfounded. The creatures of the 10,000 ancient races were also stunned. What was going on? Someone had made a move. Furthermore, who was it that had injured 3 Archean kings in a single move? Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Following the wound, he turned into a ray of sword light and instantly rushed out of the encirclement of the 3 giant palms. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon also rushed out and roared at the sky. Ha 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 ha, damn it, let's see how arrogant you can be. Come and kill Ben Huang. He was too angry. The 3 archaic kings wanted to rely on their endless years of cultivation to crush him. How could he not be angry? Lin Xian's face was also full of killing intent. If it was a young genius fighting with him, no matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be afraid. However, these archaic kings took advantage of their seniority to attack him. They even joined forces to kill him. Fortunately, a peerless expert made a move in the end. Lin Xian could see that it was someone from Immortal Palace. Moreover, it was that Li Xiunxian. That eternal light just now was a flying dagger. Li Xiunxian came late to protect you. Palace Master, please forgive me. In the sky, a figure floated down. It was Li Xiunxian. His body was surrounded by a cold light, and in his hand, there was a flying knife that was constantly spinning. Damn it! Who was it? The clouds of the 3 giant palms surged, recovering from their injuries and then disappearing. 3 terrifying figures appeared in the sky like gods and devils. They were precisely the 3 archaic kings. One of them was surrounded by silver lightning, forming terrifying lightning that covered his body. The other was scarlet red like a fire god, releasing terrifying flames. The last one was hidden in the darkness of the sky. Only a pair of blood-red eyes were incomparably cold. With a single glance, even unparalleled kings would tremble and kneel down. The auras of the 3 overflowed into the heavens, suppressing everything. Silver lightning race. Fire cloud race. Dark feather race. The 3 archaic kings stood in the void, their faces incomparably malevolent. There was actually someone who could injure them and save that hateful brat. This was intolerable. In the next moment, they raised their heads, staring at the immortal-like figure in front of them. Chapter 28:31. Damn it! Who are you? How dare you meddle in our affairs? Do you want to die? I am Immortal Palace's Li Xiunxian. How dare you attack our palace master? Today will be the day you die. Li Xiunxian's eyes also erupted with a cold light. The blade light on his body became even more terrifying. The flying blade in his hand was like a peerless divine light. He swept his gaze, and those archaic creatures all trembled. It was too terrifying. They cried out in alarm. There was actually such a terrifying person in the human race, injuring 3 archaic princes with a single blade. Who was it? How could Immortal Palace be so terrifying? They were extremely alarmed, because if it was a desolate ancient family or a top holy land with an extreme weapon that made a move, perhaps they could do this. However, they had investigated Immortal Palace before, and there were no great emperors or extreme weapons. In their eyes, it was just an ordinary holy land. How could such a holy land contend against them? But now, they realized that they were wrong. The other party casually picked a person, and it was already so terrifying. He injured 3 archaic kings with a single blade. This was unbelievable. Do you think you can contend against the 3 of us? The Silver Lightning Race's archaic king said coldly. The Fire Cloud Race's archaic king also snorted coldly. We were careless just now. Kill him. Don't talk nonsense with him. The Serene Feather Race's archaic king directly spread his wings, covering the sky. The entire sky turned into night. It was pitch black, and one couldn't even see their own fingers. The three archaic kings charged forward, their terrifying auras vast and mighty between heaven and earth. Countless cracks appeared on the array formation below. The surrounding people fled crazily, because if they didn't escape, they would probably be crushed into a bloody mist by the aura. Buzz between heaven and earth, a blade light lit up, turning into an eternal divine light that shone in the night, illuminating the darkness as if it was daytime. A blade flew out, and the Serene Feather Race's archaic king was sent flying, his shoulder struck by the blade. Blood spurted out crazily, and his entire right arm was cut off. Kill! Ah! Miserable screams and angry roars sounded. The three archaic kings attacked crazily. The entire world collapsed quickly. On the other side, Li Xunhuan's flying blade flew out from time to time, and blood splattered everywhere. However, the three primordial kings were also very powerful. Therefore, Li Xunxian was unable to kill them in a short period of time. On the contrary, the three Archean kings became fiercer and fiercer as they fought. They even wanted to suppress Li Xunxian. This scene caused everyone's hearts to jump out of their chests. The ancient race beings roared out in anger. Kill him! Kill the human! Yes, let the human race bleed like a river. They were simply too infuriated. There was actually someone who dared to fight against the 10,000 ancient races. That person truly didn't know the meaning of death. On the other side, Lin Xian's expression was cold. Although Li Xunxian was strong, he was still worried. After all, 1 versus 3. Moreover, there were 3 Holy Lord-level archaic kings. It was simply too difficult. Boom! The sky was torn apart, and the earth split apart. Another palm reached out, carrying terrifying chains of laws, slamming into the bodies of the 3 archaic kings. The 3 of them were sent flying. These 3 powerful Archean kings suppressed an area and swept through the 8 Desolaces. But at this moment, in front of this palm, he was like a fly, unable to resist at all. A sage! A sage has made his move! The human warriors screamed. The ancient creatures prostrated themselves on the ground, their bodies trembling. Which race's sage was this? A clan of the ancients? A peerless holy land? They didn't know. A cold voice came from the palm in the sky. This time, I'm giving you a warning. If you dare to secretly attack again and bully the younger generation, I'll directly kill you. The cold voice echoed throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands, causing the ancient creatures' scalps to tingle. These human prodigies heaved a sigh of relief. Great! A human sage had stood up for them. This way, their safety would be guaranteed in the future. That archaic king was sent flying, his body splitting apart. Buzz! They regrouped in the distance, their faces pale and filled with fear. No matter how strong they were only invincible kings. On the other hand, the other party was a sage who could crush them with a single finger. Hence, in this aspect, they had no ability to resist at all. But they still roared crazily. Damn it, do you really think that the 10,000 ancient races don't have sages? When the sages of the 10,000 ancient races come out, they will definitely slaughter you. They were mad with anger. The sage in the sky coldly snorted. Why? Are you feeling very aggrieved? Are you feeling helpless? When you attacked the human prodigies, did you think about it? I'll let you feel what it's like to be bullied by the older generation. Hearing those words, Lin Xian chuckled out. Giving him a taste of his own medicine? What a slap to his face. The 3 archaic kings were so angry that they vomited blood. They were too aggrieved. They originally wanted to rely on their powerful advantage to suppress the other party. But they didn't expect that a human sage would jump out and use the same method to deal with them. This made them unable to resist at all, and they were about to cry from anger. In the sky, the sage spoke again. As for the sage of the 10,000 ancient races, if he wants to revive, tell him to come find me directly. I'll wait for him in the extraterritorial battlefield. At this point, terrifying Tao runes and divine chains danced wildly in the sky, emitting a terrifying sage aura. The 10,000 ancient races couldn't raise their heads at all. In the next moment, the void was torn apart, forming a terrifying spatial black hole that directly swallowed the 10,000 ancient races. Scram! The human sage coldly snorted and sent the 10,000 ancient races' prodigies and experts flying. Caw in the sky, the terrifying large crack healed. And the 10,000 ancient races' prodigies had long disappeared. The Tao runes and divine chains that filled the sky had also disappeared without a trace. It was as if the previous scene was a dream. However, these human race cultivators knew that it wasn't a dream. The sage had really appeared. That's great. The cultivators of Immortal Palace heaved a sigh of relief, and the others also discussed spiritedly. Lin Xian also revealed a cold smile, and his eyes shone with a biting cold light. Although the 3 archaic kings had been sent flying, this matter wouldn't end like this. As long as he saw the prodigies of the Fire Cloud race, Silver Lightning race, and Dark Feather race, he definitely wouldn't let any of them off. This was the outcome of the other party daring to kill him. In fact, Lin Xian directly said that he would offer a high reward for the whereabouts of the Silver Lightning race, Fire Cloud race, and Dark Feather race's prodigies. Those who provided information would each receive a divine crystal. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding cultivators were shocked. It seemed that Lin Xian was determined to fight to the death with the 10,000 ancient races. This news swept out like a gale, and the world was instantly in an uproar. The 5 continents of the true spirit world were discussing spiritedly. The sacred leaders, sect masters, and grand elders were also shocked. Even the sage had made a move? Things seemed to be getting more and more intense. Sure enough, the 10,000 ancient races were incomparably furious, especially the Silver Lightning race, Fire Cloud race, and Dark Feather race. Even their sage had awakened and come to the extraterritorial battlefield. Chapter 2832. However, there was no more news after that. Some people said that the entire outer realm had been destroyed, and sage blood had dyed the sky red. Later on, the Silver Lightning race, Fire Cloud race, and Serene Feather race fell silent. They didn't do anything. Everyone was stunned. Could it be that the 3 ancient races had suffered a loss? This was truly shocking. Just which power was it that did this? Was it the clan of the ancients? Or the other top sacred grounds? Who was it? Who was it? No one knew. But before long, the various clan of the ancients, as well as the top sacred grounds and sects, joined forces and made a statement. The older generation wasn't allowed to interfere in the battle between the younger generation, regardless of life or death. No assassinations were allowed. That was the rule. Once discovered, the human race would join forces with all the clan of the ancients, sects, and sacred grounds to hunt them down. They wouldn't rest until they were dead. The world was in an uproar. No one had expected the various sacred grounds and clan of the ancients to be so aggressive. Actually, it made sense. Most of the human race's chosens and geniuses had been suppressed to the point of being unable to raise their heads. However, there were a few that had risen like comets. Even in the face of the ancient royals, they still shone brightly. These people were the top geniuses of the clan of the ancients. They were the future hope of the clan of the ancients and the top sacred grounds. And these clan of the ancients and sacred grounds had supreme weapons. It could be said that they were extremely confident. Naturally, they didn't want their legacies to be destroyed. That was why they had joined forces to make such a statement. It was to prevent something similar from happening again. Otherwise, if Yi Wudao and the others died, the Yi family and other factions wouldn't be able to take it. The 10,000 ancient races also agreed to this suggestion and rule. After all, they didn't want their geniuses to be ambushed by the human race's sages, sect masters, and sacred lords. In this way, there would be endless assassinations. Therefore, they decided to abide by the rule and let the younger generation deal with it. Although Lin Xian had defeated the Southern Sea Crocodile God, they didn't think it was a big deal. After all, there were many clan of the ancient royals who were stronger than the Southern Sea Crocodile God. Moreover, the one who had attacked this time wasn't the strongest clan of the Southern Sea Crocodile God. Therefore, Lin Xian's victory didn't mean that the 10,000 ancient races had lost. Moreover, there was the royal family of the clan of the 10,000 ancient races. But the princes and princesses had yet to appear. Once such a character appeared, he would definitely be able to sweep through the world and suppress the 8 desolations. In a desperate situation, several figures of tigers stood there. They were old, their faces were deep, and their eyes shone like stars. The aura emanating from his body was like a sea of smoke. One of the elderly men snorted out coldly. Damn these humans! To think that they would join forces to issue such a warning. Were they trying to threaten them? Ignore them. This rule may not be a bad thing for us. In this way, the safety of the younger generation is guaranteed. Don't worry, the humans won't be arrogant for much longer. Our plan will be implemented soon. At that time, the 10,000 ancient races will join forces. How can the human race be arrogant then? He was afraid that he could only crawl on the ground. The whole land will be ours. These people laughed sinisterly. It was obvious that they had already begun to carry out their secret plan. Presumably, it wouldn't be long before they started a direct conflict with the human race. Not long after, a piece of news appeared. The human race was stunned. Even the Archean prodigies and top human geniuses stopped fighting. Lin Xian didn't continue fighting either. After hearing this news, he fell silent. The Crimson Dragon at the side screamed. Damn, they really came out. What kind of terrifying existence was in the nest of 10,000 dragons? That's right, this shocking news was that the 10,000 dragons' annihilation had appeared. The revival of the dragon race in the nest of 10,000 dragons was no longer a secret. However, they had never appeared outside. They were only active in the nest of 10,000 dragons. But now, they had finally appeared. The nest of 10,000 dragons split open and a huge dragon rushed out, roaring in the void. His body was 100,000 feet long, like a mountain range, crushing the void. A terrifying dragon might fill the world, and the entire middle ground could hear the loud dragon roar. At this moment, countless people raised their heads to look at the sky in shock. Dragon? It was a dragon! The legendary dragon had finally appeared. This shocked everyone. The creatures of the 10,000 ancient races also prostrated on the ground and bowed in worship. The nest of 10,000 dragons, the dragon race, was one of the ancient royal families. It was extremely terrifying. Even the ancient royal families had to be respectful when they saw it. The impact of the dragon race's appearance was too great. Not to mention the younger generation, even the elders, sacred leaders, and sect masters of the older generation had worried looks on their faces. The appearance of the ancient royal family was already a headache for them. But now, even a royal family like the dragon race had appeared. They were an even more terrifying existence. Their foundation and strength were not inferior to the ancient families. In fact, they were even more terrifying than the ancient families. Because it was rumored that there was an emperor-level existence in the dragon race. That was the son of a great emperor. How terrifying would his bloodline power be? They didn't dare to imagine. Once he appeared, he would probably be able to dominate the world. The son of a great emperor? Everyone was shocked. That was the son of a great emperor. Heavens, there was actually a terrifying existence like the son of a great emperor in this world. There was probably no hope for others to become a great emperor. That's right. The dragon race was originally a royal family. The power of their bloodline was unique and could crush everything. Now that there was a son of a great emperor, he was probably the one with the most hope of becoming a great emperor. Discussions and exclamations sounded one after another. The faces of the saints and geniuses were filled with despair. Why were they in the same era as the emperor? This was a great tragedy. Even Lin Xian, Yu Wudao, Wu Chun, and the others had solemn expressions. Emperor's son. These two words were like a mountain in front of them, making it difficult for them to breathe. Humph. So what if he's the Emperor's son? Let me see how terrifying the descendant of a great Emperor's son is. Lin Xian gripped his sword tightly, and a piercing light burst out from his eyes. Yu Wudao also stood out. His sacred physique was released, and his golden blood surged. His eyes were also filled with fighting spirit. To others, this was the worst era, but to them, this might be the best era. Because being able to fight with a genius like the Emperor's son was not something that every generation's genius could encounter. However, after the nest of 10,000 dragons appeared in the world, it did something that no one expected. Even those people were dumbfounded. Because the nest of 10,000 dragons had issued an order. It was a very strange order. Capture Lin Xian. As soon as this order was issued, the world was stunned. Those people were extremely shocked and couldn't believe it. Even the archaic creatures were stunned. Lin Xian? The nest of 10,000 dragons actually wanted to kill Lin Xian? How was that possible? Did Lin Xian offend the dragon race of the nest of 10,000 dragons? Even Lin Xian was stunned. Chapter 2833. Although he had entered and killed the creatures inside, even splitting open the nest of 10,000 dragons with a single sword strike. But even if the nest of 10,000 dragons wanted revenge, they shouldn't be looking for him. So many sacred leaders and sect masters had taken action, so why did they only target him? Moreover, they had issued such a primordial token. One had to know that once the dragon race primordial token was issued, no one in the world would dare to disobey. Most likely, those ancient lifeforms would go crazy and hunt him down. After the Crimson Dragon received this news, his face darkened. Kid, be careful. Things aren't that simple. I guess they should have seen through your trump card. They might know that the dragon-shaped sword shadow you used is the great dragon sword soul. If that's the case, then things are dangerous. At this point, the Crimson Dragon's expression was extremely solemn. Lin Xian frowned when he heard this. It couldn't be. Had his final secret been seen through? To be honest, other than the Crimson Dragon, Lord Alcohol, and Xia Jiuyo, no one knew that he used the great dragon sword soul. This was his biggest secret, but now, the dragon race in the nest of 10,000 dragons had actually seen through his secret. This shocked him greatly. If this secret was leaked, everyone in the world would probably target him. I guess it should be close to the truth. The Crimson Dragon said again. After all, the great dragon sword soul contained the dragon soul. As the dragon race, the nest of 10,000 dragons had many powerhouses. They must have sensed it. When they think of your super powerful attack power, they might be able to guess it. So this was the case. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seemed that he had to prepare for the worst. However, he guessed that even if these people in the nest of 10,000 dragons knew that he had the great dragon sword soul, they probably wouldn't say it out loud. Instead, they would capture him secretly. Otherwise, if the news were to spread, there would definitely be people fighting with the nest of 10,000 dragons. At that time, the nest of 10,000 dragons might not be able to obtain the great dragon sword soul. His guess was right. The 10,000 dragons' annihilation didn't explain the reason. Instead, they sent a few powerhouses of the dragon race to secretly set off to capture Lin Xian. Of course, they didn't send any older powerhouses either. After all, the human race and the 10,000 ancient races had just reached an agreement. 5 days later, Lin Xian stopped in a mountain range. There was a figure standing in front of him, a figure with dragon scales on his body. An expert of the dragon clan. Lin Xian furrowed his brows and his face darkened. He didn't expect the other party to come so quickly. He was able to lock onto his aura so quickly. In front of him, the figure stood in the void, his entire body covered in flashing purple scales. Even his eyes were purple. His cold eyes stared at Lin Xian. "You're that kid?" Sure enough, he had the aura of a dragon soul. Come to think of it, the great dragon sword soul in your body. Lin Xian's pupils shrank when he heard the other party's words. Sure enough, the other party had seen through his trump card. He didn't say anything, and his body emitted a fierce aura, ready to attack at any moment. The expert from the dragon race sneered coldly. My guess is right. However, a human trash like you actually has the great dragon sword soul. This is really hard to believe. Damned ant, obediently hand over the great dragon sword soul, and I can give you a quick death. You don't deserve to have the great dragon sword soul. Only the dragon clan is worthy of having such an offensive saint technique. A fiery light appeared in his eyes. He had no choice. The great dragon sword soul was the strongest thing in terms of offensive power. Even the dragon clan would be ecstatic after hearing about it. How could he not be moved? If you want my great dragon sword soul, let's see if you have the strength. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his face incomparably gloomy. The sword chi on his body became more and more piercing, forming a sword diagram that shone in the sky. Then, it suppressed towards the front. Facing the Dragon Clan expert, Lin Xian took the initiative to attack. How dare you attack me? You really don't know what's good for you. The Dragon Clan expert snorted. Kid, although you have the great dragon sword soul, you're still too inexperienced. We're both young geniuses. I only need one palm to kill you. The Dragon Clan genius was very arrogant. He was not an expert of the older generation, but a young genius who had just recovered and was extremely powerful. Although he had not heard any legends about Lin Xian these days, he had even heard that Lin Xian had defeated the Southern Sea Crocodile God, a genius. But he did not care. That was because the Southern Sea Crocodile God was only a member of the royal clan, while he was from the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan was much stronger than those royal clans. He could easily crush his opponent. A palm slapped out, bringing with it an incomparably terrifying power that could destroy everything, and it descended from the sky. This scene made Lin Xian frown. His opponent was indeed very strong, and he was ridiculously strong. He had never seen a young man with such means. It was just a casual attack, but it was mysterious and unfathomable, with supreme magical powers. The Dragon Clan was indeed worthy of being a member of the far ancient royal clan. He was indeed too strong. However, he was no longer afraid. With a snort, the great dragon sword soul swung a golden fist forward. Kill! Lin Xian roared. His black hair danced wildly as he quickly charged forward. Facing the Dragon Clan genius, he was not afraid. He was only excited and his blood was boiling. He was too excited to be able to fight with such an expert. Boom! The fist and palm collided, causing a violent shockwave in the sky. The space within hundreds of thousands of miles was quickly torn apart, and there was not a single place that was intact. After that attack, the two of them retreated 3,000 miles and stopped. The light in Lin Xian's eyes became even more terrifying. On the other side, the Dragon Clan genius frowned. A look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. He blocked it. How was that possible? How could his opponent block it? It was really surprising. One had to know that even the far ancient royal clan genius could not block his palm. But his opponent blocked it. Could this be the power of the great dragon sword soul? Thinking of this, his eyes lit up. He had to admit that the great dragon sword soul was really powerful. It could make a human ant like you be compared to me. To be honest, he did not take anyone seriously at all. He had only heard of those battles and did not see it with his own eyes. As far as he was concerned, humans were nothing more than ants and slaves. Their Dragon Clan was the true supreme existence that stood high above the masses. As a member of the Dragon Clan, he naturally did not take everything seriously. Now that there was someone who could fight against him, he naturally did not think that this was the other party's true ability. Lin Xian did not say anything. His face was gloomy, and the power in his body erupted once again. It was like a sea of stars surging into the 9 heavens. This time, he was going to use his strength to tell the other party that he, Lin Xian, was not to be trifled with. No one could have any ideas about him. Kill! With another roar, Lin Xian held the ancient dragon abyss sword and charged forward. Chapter 2834. Accompanied by his sword technique and the terrifying Nine Suns' divine fire, the entire world trembled. One sword strike after another. Every sword strike could destroy the stars and shatter the earth. Despicable and die for me. On the other side, the dragon race cultivator's face was gloomy. His hands quickly formed seals, and the dragon blood in his body kept surging. He struck out with an extremely terrifying palm technique. Terrifying energy surged, and a huge explosion occurred in the void. Heaven and earth collapsed, and the sky was beaten into nothingness. This battle was too shocking. Terrifying energy spread in all directions, so much so that the people in the distance were terrified. Damn it, there was an apocalyptic battle. Who was it? Could it be that two sacred lords were fighting? No, it shouldn't be a sacred lord. It should be an expert of the younger generation. What expert of the younger generation? This power was too terrifying. Could it be Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others? Heavens, could it be that they were fighting with the immemorial king again? Let's go and take a look. Many people soared into the sky. They were too shocked. They hadn't received any news recently. One had to know that every time a human prodigy and an immemorial prodigy fought, the news would be released in advance, attracting countless people to watch. But this time, they didn't find any news. Therefore, they were very surprised. On the other side, Lin Xian's body was surrounded by sword light, and he was also shocked. He realized that the other party was very strong, even stronger than the Southern Sea Crocodile God. And the other party was just a young man who walked out of the nest of 10,000 dragons. This was too shocking. Roar! On the other side, the dragon race cultivator roared and waved his fist, smashing over again. Punch after punch, the entire sky was torn apart. It was impossible to resist. Lin Xian felt a great pressure, as if he was facing the divine fist of a god. Humph! He snorted coldly, and his expression was incomparably cold. The dragon sword soul in his body instantly surged, and with an extremely terrifying dragon roar, the terrifying sword chi turned into a vast ocean that roared in the sky. You're still too inexperienced to use the dragon soul in front of me. The dragon race cultivator sneered. He was a true descendant of the dragon race. The dragon blood in his body was so pure, yet the other party actually dared to display such a dragon aura in front of him. In his eyes, this was simply laughable. In the next moment, the dragon blood in his body surged, and he also transformed into the shadow of a true dragon and rushed out. Boom! Boom! Terrifying power and shockwaves. The two dragon shadows collided in the sky, creating a shocking sound of thunder. Between heaven and earth, tens of thousands of lightning bolts descended, shattering the void. In the distance, the people who had flown over were stunned when they saw this scene. What a terrifying aura! Even though they were separated by hundreds of thousands of miles, their bodies started to tremble. Those two dragon silhouettes in the distance were seriously too terrifying, making them extremely alarmed. Could it be that the dragon race of the nest of 10,000 dragons had made a move? That was very likely. Otherwise, who else could release such a dragon aura? But that's not right. Who are the people from the nest of 10,000 dragons fighting with? The other party also had such a terrifying dragon soul. Could it be that there was a civil war in the nest of 10,000 dragons? No, it was Lin Xian. Look at the other dragon shadow, it's formed by sword chi. This was definitely something that only Lin Xian could do. His sword chi was incomparably terrifying. Some of the peerless experts recognized this. The others were extremely shocked. Lin Xian was actually fighting with the dragon race of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Heavens, this was too unbelievable. Was Lin Xian trying to defy the heavens? Buzz! Suddenly, they closed their eyes and retreated frantically. Some people's eyes were bleeding because there was a peerless sword light in front of them. It was too resplendent and terrifying. This sword light was sent out by Lin Xian. He didn't intend to hesitate any longer and drag out the battle. Hence, he sent out his strongest attack. This sword energy, the great dragon sword soul roared and transformed into a huge dragon that descended from the sky. It directly split the other party's dragon shadow apart. Not only that, this sword strike struck the body of the other party's dragon race warrior. Pooh! That dragon race warrior vomited blood and flew backward. A terrifying crack was torn open on his body. Dragon blood surged, dyeing the void red. A drop of dragon blood crushed countless mountain peaks and sank the ground. That dragon race warrior was extremely shocked. Damn it, this was impossible. How could you injure me? He was too shocked. He was from the dragon race. He was a high and mighty member of the royal family. He could look down on everything. Even the ancient royal family didn't dare to be rude to him. But now, a human, an ant, actually injured him. This was hard for him to accept. Ah! Damn it, roaming dragon, go to hell! This dragon race warrior roared angrily. The dragon blood on his body surged and enveloped him. In the next moment, his body quickly enlarged and turned into a huge purple dragon that rushed over. This huge dragon was 7,000 meters long and was extremely terrifying. With a roar, it directly crashed towards Lin Xian, wanting to tear him apart. Buzz! It was over! Another sword strike. Lin Xian held the dragon sword shadow and became one with the sword. He turned into an eternal ray of light and rushed out. This sword pierced into the huge purple dragon's mouth. Puff, puff, puff. The huge purple dragon's body quickly split into two halves. Lin Xian rushed out from the dragon's tail. In the sky, the huge purple dragon that was thousands of meters long suddenly tore open. Countless amounts of blood dyed the void red. That huge body smashed down, completely shattering the ground. Roar! The huge dragon roared crazily. The two halves of the corpse wanted to heal. However, the sharpness of the dragon sword soul and the inextinguishable sword intent made it impossible for even a dragon race warrior to heal. Damn it! The purple dragon race warrior roared angrily. His soul flew out, wanting to wrap around the corpse and leave. However, he was directly sent flying by Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the heavenly secret divine eyes. In the sky, a pair of golden eyes appeared and looked down. The purple dragon race warrior's soul trembled, and a trace of fear appeared. Damn it, how was this possible? What were these golden eyes? Why could even he feel a sense of fear in his soul? One had to know that he was a dragon's soul. Who could suppress him in terms of soul? He didn't dare to believe it. However, the golden eye in the sky had managed to do that. In the next moment, he screamed in horror. Because the golden runes in the golden eyes turned into a golden vortex, forming a force that sucked him in. The purple dragon's soul wanted to break free, but it couldn't do so. In an instant, he was sucked in by the golden eyes. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm, and the golden eyes in the sky disappeared. The corner of his mouth raised into a cold smile. In the next moment, his body swayed. His sleeves rolled up the two halves of the huge dragon's corpse on the ground and disappeared into the void. The people in the distance were extremely shocked. The battle was over? Where was the dragon race warrior? Could it be that he was killed? Heavens, it can't be! Lin Xian defeated the dragon race warrior? And he even killed the other party? These people were extremely shocked. Chapter 2835. They felt that it was unlikely. 10,000 dragons suppressing the dragon clan, that was a legendary existence. It was even more terrifying than the ancient royal family. Anyone who walked out of it could wipe out a bunch of them. But now, it was actually killed by Lin Xian. Their faces were filled with disbelief as they quickly flew forward, wanting to investigate. When they arrived in front and saw the ground full of wounds and the terrifying stench of blood, they were all stunned. This battle was truly too bitter. Just the remnant auras on the surface were enough to cause them to be extremely alarmed. However, they saw some bloodstains and cracks in the ground, but they didn't see any corpses. Therefore, they couldn't be sure if the dragon clan members had been killed. They couldn't be sure if Lin Xian had been killed instead. All of this will be yours. However, this news quickly spread. After all, the battle between Lin Xian and the Dragon Clan warriors was too shocking. On the other side, Lin Xian left the mountain range and came to the sky. He entered the black earth. With a wave of his sleeve, the terrifying dragon corpse also appeared. Fortunately, the black earth could transform into a huge spirit boat. Lin Xian had also turned the giant dragon's corpse into a small mountain. Only then was it able to fit inside. The crimson dragon looked at the purple dragon corpse and drooled. Damn it, eat it! When Lin Xian heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched and his eyes widened. You want to eat it? It's your own kind. What kind? I'm from the Divine Dragon Clan. He's just an ordinary dragon. He's much more humble. I'm already giving him a lot of face by eating it. The crimson dragon snorted coldly. Besides, he wants to kill us. So what if I eat him? All right. Lin Xian nodded. He hadn't tasted dragon meat yet. Oh right, use that formation of yours again. This time, you'll get a lot of dragon blood. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. After all, this thing could increase the power of his 9-yang divine body and dragon sword soul. He naturally didn't want to miss it. The Crimson Dragon said. Don't worry. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes as he stared at the gigantic dragon's corpse. How boring would it be if only the two of us ate it? Tell Hui Dao and the others to send a message to Qingqing and Xiu'er. It would be best to call Yu Wudao, Gu Santong, and the others over so they could eat together. Good idea. The Crimson Dragon's eyes lit up, revealing a trace of a smile. Boy, I find that you are too bad. What's wrong? Lin Xian pursed his lips. The Crimson Dragon smirked. You're trying to drag them all down with you. All right, you don't have to say it. I understand. I'll use the array formation to send them a message. The Crimson Dragon chuckled. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. It was just some dragon meat, so of course everyone had to enjoy it together. Soon after, those people heard the news. They opened the space gates and directly teleported away. In a spiritual vein, the Crimson Dragon laid down a peerless formation to isolate the aura. He waited outside the formation. Soon, the sky was torn apart, and one figure after another descended. Some were golden like blood, some were whistling like phoenixes, and some were purple from the east. They were Yu Wudao, Murong Qingqing, Xin Jingqiu, and the others. Of course, not only the three of them, but Gu Santong, Wu Hua, Hui Dao, and Peacock also came. Hui Dao and the others were from the Immortal Palace. Lin Xian naturally would not treat them unfairly. As for the others, they were all top-notch peerless geniuses. Big Brother Lin Xian. Big Brother Xian. Xin Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing walked over, and Lin Xian hugged them. Brother Lin, why did you call us here? I heard there's something good? Yu Wudao was a little confused, and Gu Santong's eyes flashed. Could there be something good for them to see? Wu Hua was also looking forward to it. Lin Xian looked at them with a smile. There must be something good, but, he looked at Wu Hua and scratched his head. Well, do you want to break your vow today? Break the vow? Wu Hua was stunned. Brother Lin, don't joke around. You're not going to introduce me to a peerless beauty, are you? Hearing this, Gu Santong and Yu Wudao laughed loudly. Hui Dao and the others also laughed. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu asked curiously. Brother Lin Xian, are you really going to introduce a peerless beauty to this monk? Wu Hua quickly shook his head. Brother Lin, forget it. I'm a monk. You should enjoy this good thing yourself. You can give it to Brother Yi or Brother Gu. Wu Hua shook his head. He did not care about beautiful women. Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, it's not a beauty. But it's something else. Don't be anxious. Go in and take a look. Lin Xian smiled mysteriously. This made the others even more excited. Come in. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the Crimson Dragon next to him tore open the array. Immediately, a group of people walked in. Then, the array closed, forming a cloud that covered the heavens. No one knew that the top geniuses were gathered here. Brother Lin, what is this? That's right? Brother Xian. These people entered and were even more confused. This was a spirit vein, and the surrounding spirit chi was dense. However, they did not find any treasures. Could it be below? They looked carefully. Lin Xian smiled. He waved his hand, and a purple hill appeared in front of them. A terrifying aura was emitted from the hill. Buzz, when the aura was emitted, the surrounding space collapsed, and the ground cracked. The spirit chi in the surroundings gathered crazily, forming tornadoes. Yu Wudao, Gu Santong, Wu Hua, and the others were also shocked. During the meeting, Peacock and the others were breathing heavily. Even Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu were shocked. Big brother Lin Xian, what is this? Is it a monster? Xinjingqiu's face turned pale, and Murong Qingqing's blood vessels roared to resist the aura. In the next moment, they were shocked. What is this? Could it be? They were stunned. Because they had already noticed the hill in front of them. It was not a hill, but a dragon that was circling there. However, its size was too huge. It looked like a mountain. A dragon, a dragon! And it's the corpse of a dragon. The top geniuses were breathing heavily. They widened their eyes and looked at Lin Xian. Brother Lin, where did you get this thing? Yes, did you pull it out from the nest of 10,000 dragons? Gu Santong, Wu Hua, and the others were shocked. Lin Xian smiled. Of course it's something. What, you killed it? You killed the dragon. They were even more shocked. Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu were nervous. Big brother Lin Xian, you're not injured, are you? They had no idea that Lin Xian was fighting with the dragon race. Now they were very nervous. They were worried about Lin Xian. Is he injured? This guy shouldn't be a peerless genius from the nest of 10,000 dragons. He's just an ordinary dragon. His strength is stronger than the average archaic prodigy, but not to the point of being heaven-defying. Therefore, he can't threaten me. Lin Xian said simply, then looked around. How about it? Are you interested in tasting it? Chapter 2836. What? You want to eat dragon meat? Hui Dao and the others shrieked. Even Yi Wudao and Gu Santong's pupils constricted. On the side, Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu were also astonished. Wu Hua laughed bitterly. He finally understood why Lin Xian had said that he might have to break his vow this time. It was not for beauties but for meat. But soon Wu Hua smiled. Brother Lin, it seems that you don't know that the Western Desert is different from the Buddhist sects of the mortal world. We don't forbid such things. You know, there are some powerful monster kings whose flesh is filled with power that we use. So even if I eat dragon meat, it's not considered breaking my vow. Lin Xian was stunned by Wu Hua's words. Since there was such a thing, this was even better. How about it? Do you want to eat? Good, good. If that's the case, I won't hold back. Gu Santong's eyes lit up, and Yi Wudao nodded. To be honest, he had never eaten dragon meat before. How could he not be excited to eat it for the first time? After all, it was a legendary thing. All right, hurry up. Ben Wan couldn't wait any longer. The Crimson Dragon conjured a large cauldron and placed it on the ground. Everyone was stunned. Is this guy going to eat it too? Xinjingqiu exclaimed. Murong Qingqing and Yi Wudao's mouths twitched. The Crimson Dragon rolled its eyes impatiently. What's with your expressions? Why can't Ben Wan eat it? Damn, this guy is our enemy. He wants to kill me. Why can't I eat him? You're making a fuss out of nothing. He snorted coldly. His face darkened, and he started lighting a fire. I'm on my side. Whitey also jumped out. Its big eyes narrowed into crescents. Let's do it. Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others waved the dragon carcass. Soon, a fragrant aroma wafted out. They sat together. Haha, Ben Wan can't wait any longer. The Crimson Dragon was the first to reach out. With a wave of its dragon claw, it tore off the cooked meat. The piece of meat was sparkling and translucent, emitting dense spiritual energy. It was even more terrifying than the spiritual energy in the spirit vein. The Crimson Dragon did not hesitate and bit down. The next moment, he screamed. Oh, it feels so good. The dragon blood in his body boiled, releasing rumbling sounds. It was like a furnace of heaven and earth, roaring nonstop. Awesome, it was just too awesome. There was simply too much energy contained within. The crimson dragon kept roaring. Hearing this, Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, Xin Jingqiu, and the others all took a bite. In the next moment, their bodies also rumbled. Their pores opened up, and streams of spirit chi came out of them. This power was simply too overwhelming. It was as if he had eaten a divine crystal. Little White also took a bite, and immediately became lively and lively. 1. Their eyes were burning with passion as they quickly waved their chopsticks. Soon, a dragon that was thousands of meters long was eaten up by them. In the end, they even drank the soup. Awesome, it was simply too awesome. I feel like I'm about to break through. My cultivation base has also grown. The few of them exclaimed. It was too terrifying. A dragon could make them have such a reaction. As expected of the dragon race. The power and bloodline it contained were simply too terrifying. Don't waste it, hurry up and cultivate. Lin Xian and the others sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate, completely refining the energy in their bodies. 5 days later, they opened their eyes. Brother Lin, be careful. The nest of 10,000 dragons wants to capture you. I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble in the future. Yes, if you need us, just say the word. Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, Wu Hua, and the others said. Lin Xian nodded. Don't worry, if I need you, I won't be polite. However, you guys have to be careful too. When the dragon race appears, in addition to capturing me, their prodigies will also appear. When that time comes, there will be a huge battle. Hearing this, Yi Wudao and the others looked solemn. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu's eyes also flickered. Lin Xian was right. Was the royal family about to appear? They wondered if other royal families would appear besides the 10,000 dragons' annihilation. Finally, Yi Wudao spoke and told them a piece of news. Everyone, be careful. When you return, inform the sacred leader and the sect leader. Our Yi family has received news that the revival of the 10,000 ancient races this time is not simple. It's not just the younger generation that is challenging. They might cause a huge commotion in the near future. When that time comes, it will be a disaster for the entire human race. Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. Is there any accurate news? Yi Wudao nodded. Because in the past few days, the Yi family's patriarch and several grand elders have been gathering resources non-stop. Moreover, they are about to take out their extreme weapons. If the situation changes, they will directly take out their extreme weapons. In fact, some peerless experts have even come to the Yi family and invited the grand elders to go out and find a treasure to intimidate the 10,000 ancient races. It seems that chaos is about to happen. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. In this chaotic world, only the strong could survive. The others naturally understood this principle, so they discussed for a while, left each other a transmission array, and then left. Qingqing, Qiao, where are you two going? Lin Xian asked. Brother Xian, I'm going to go back and cultivate. Brother Lin Xian, I also want to go back and cultivate. I promise I won't be a burden to you. Xin Jingqiu waved her pink fists. All right. Lin Xian hugged the two of them. If there's any danger or something, you must tell me. In the end, Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu left hand in hand. As for Lin Xian, he also left. After going out, Lin Xian received the news and was shocked. Because he realized that the dragon race was completely enraged. There was nothing he could do about it. The news of him killing a dragon still spread. The nest of 10,000 dragons was completely enraged. They swore to capture him and order all the races in the world to capture him together. It directly caused a huge commotion. Countless primordial geniuses came out one after another, wanting to capture Lin Xian. On the other side, in a mysterious mountain range, a blue-robed man and that strange head also came up with a plan. They felt that they should add fuel to the fire and let the human race join forces to kill Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian was too strong. He had two supreme treasures. Such a person would definitely be a powerful enemy on the road to becoming a great emperor in the future. Therefore, they decided to join forces to get rid of him now. Of course, they wouldn't make a move. Instead, they released a piece of news. This news was guessed by the mysterious blue-robed man. He wasn't 100% sure. But now, it was no longer important. As long as this news was out, even if those people didn't believe it, they would capture Lin Xian and investigate. Chapter 2837. This piece of news was that Lin Xian possessed the great dragon sword soul. As soon as this news came out, the world was in an uproar and instantly swept across the entire continent. What? Great dragon sword soul? Are you talking about the one with the highest attack power in the world? No wonder. I thought that there was something wrong with that dragon-shaped sword shadow. I didn't expect it to be the legendary Great Dragon Sword Soul. Oh my god, no way, this can't be true, right? Lin Xian actually had such a treasure. No wonder he was so powerful. That was left behind by the Shimin Great Emperor. Everyone was stunned. The entire human race was in an uproar. On the other side, the 10,000 ancient races were also in an uproar. They didn't expect that the other party would have such a treasure in his hands. The dragon race powerhouses in the nest of 10,000 dragons roared angrily. Damn it, who was it? Who leaked the news? Investigate, you must find out for me. Tear him into pieces. They were too angry because they also knew that the other party had it. However, they didn't want to make it public. Instead, they planned to quietly capture the other party and bring him back to obtain the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The Dragon Prince would have more hope on the path of becoming a great emperor. He might even be able to use it to break through the gate of immortality. But now, before they could capture Lin Xian, the news had been leaked. This result made them go crazy with anger. The Yi family, Gu family, Yao Guang, Yao Qi, and the other sacred leaders' eyes flickered. As expected, they had long suspected it, but they didn't dare to believe it. But now, when this news came out, they were even more certain that the thing in Lin Xian's hands was the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The Great Dragon Sword Soul was a cultivation method and saint technique. It was once possessed by the Shimin Great Emperor, and became a sword emperor of his generation. It could be said that in terms of attack power, it could definitely dominate the world. Whoever obtained it had hope of becoming the next Shimin Great Emperor. How could these people not be tempted? Not to mention the sacred leaders, even the primordial kings and the dragon race were incomparably jealous. In an instant, the world was in an uproar. The 10,000 ancient races didn't hesitate, and directly issued a kill order to frantically search for Lin Xian. They wanted to capture him and seize the Great Dragon Sword Soul. On the other side, the humans were also shaken. Many of them were burning with passion. Of course, they could not be so shameless as to attack directly. They might have been able to do so in the past, but now, with the 10,000 ancient races eyeing them covetously, it was time for the human race to join forces. Therefore, at this time, he should not be so blatant. However, these people would definitely not give up. Many elders and even sect masters of the sacred grounds were secretly searching for Lin Xian. As long as they discovered the other party, they would secretly make a move, quietly kill the other party, and seize the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Especially those who had a grudge against Lin Xian. The 5 Elements Palace, 9 Heavens Sacred Ground, 10,000 Lightnings Sacred Ground, Tuoba Clan, and others were also secretly taking action. The Tai Dynasty, the Battle Tribe, and the Heavenly Human Tribe also came out to search for Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian had once again become the focus of the world. What? Great Dragon Sword Spirit? Leaf Dao Denier, Gu Santong, Flowerless, Murong Qingqing, and Xinjingqiu had just returned to their clans in the Holy Land when they heard the news. They were extremely shocked. They really did not expect Lin Xian to have such a treasure. Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu were not so surprised. The two of them had followed Lin Xian for a long time, so they knew. However, Leaf Doudenier and the others did not know. In fact, Leaf Doudenier was extremely shocked because Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was originally not weaker than his saint body. Now that the other party had such an offensive saint art in his hands, it could be said that he would definitely be a powerful enemy on the road to becoming a great emperor in the future. However, he would not be afraid, nor would he assassinate. In fact, he did not even want his clan to make a move. Because he and Lin Xian were friends, even if there was a fight on the road to becoming a great emperor in the future, he still hoped that it would be a fair fight. Moreover, it would not hurt the feelings between them. Not to mention them, even the people from the Immortal Palace were stunned. The chief enforcer, Li Xuanxian, and the others were also shocked. Because other than Xia Jiuyu, no one else knew that Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul. They did not expect Lin Xian actually had such a secret. Li Xuanxian said in a deep voice. There was no need to say anything now. Quickly send people to bring the palace master over. They could not let others assassinate him. The palace master is the hope of the Immortal Palace in the future. These people were excited. Lin Xian was the palace master of the Immortal Palace. The stronger Lin Xian was, the stronger the Immortal Palace would be. If Lin Xian became the next great emperor, the Immortal Palace would soar into the sky and become an extreme Tao holy land. In tens of thousands of years, they would become the true overlord of the world and be respected by all. How could they not be excited by such a scene? Therefore, the people of the Immortal Palace moved out one after another, preparing to bring Lin Xian back. On the other side, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were also driving the Black Earth at full speed. They wanted to reach the Immortal Palace as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be bad if they were robbed and killed by others. There was an agreement before that the older generation was not allowed to kill the young geniuses. But this time, it was too special. This was not a battle between the younger generation, but a battle to seize the great dragon sword soul, an offensive saint art. Perhaps even the saints would jump out at that time. Indeed, a few of the saints were tempted. They had no choice. The great dragon sword soul was an offensive saint art. If they could obtain it, they would have a chance to become a great emperor. How could these saints not be excited about such a thing? Rosalong quickly opened the gate and teleported back. Lin Xian also stopped flying. He decided to use the array formation to quickly return. The Crimson Dragon began to set up the array formation. In the void, the power of space cracked, forming a terrifying black hole. The Black Earth was still slowly entering. It was about to disappear. However, at this moment, a large palm descended from the sky, directly smashing the void and shattering the newly formed teleportation array. The Black Earth was also sent flying, crashing into the ground below, directly breaking a dozen mountains. Inside the Black Earth, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's blood was boiling. Their faces were extremely gloomy. Damn it, a peerless powerhouse had made a move. The hand in the sky was too terrifying. It could shatter everything in an instant. Moreover, the other party was able to determine their location so quickly. It was too shocking. Could it be that Yu Wudao and the others had leaked the news? The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He shook his head. Impossible. I believe them. It shouldn't be them who leaked the news. Perhaps someone has deduced our fate. Moreover, we are already millions of miles away from the spirit vein. Even if the news was leaked, they couldn't have found us so quickly. Lin Xian was right. The Crimson Dragon understood this. But who did it? They didn't know. Damn it, you better not let me know. Otherwise, Ben Huan will tear down your nest in the future. The Crimson Dragon was furious. Chapter 2838. Lin Xian said with a gloomy face as he hurriedly left. He controlled the Black Earth and quickly shuttled away, preparing to leave in another direction. However, at this moment, another giant palm slammed down from the sky, destroying the mountain range and sending the Black Earth flying into the void. Not good. Another terrifying peerless expert. This was definitely a terrifying, invincible king. He was at least at the level of a grand elder, a sacred lord, or a sect master. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so terrifying. Run! Lin Xian burned his divine crystal. The black earth erupted with a terrifying light, piercing through the void. It was very fast, completely escaping the range of the two giant palms. It flew towards the direction of the immortal palace. However, not long after, he was sent flying again. Another powerful enemy had appeared. Not good, I'm afraid we can't go back. There are peerless experts hiding on the path of the immortal palace, waiting to kill us, the Crimson Dragon said. Damn it! Lin Xian was also going crazy. They didn't expect these people to act so quickly. Kid, look at this aura. It's not just the ancient race. There are also experts from the human race. I knew it! Lin Xian's face was cold. He naturally knew that the human race would definitely make a move. However, these people were all hidden. He didn't know who did it. Sure enough, along the way, Lin Xian had already suffered 4 terrifying attacks. Fortunately, the black earth was incomparably tough. Under such terrifying attacks, it didn't break. It could still explode with power and move forward quickly. However, more and more experts appeared in front of them. This made Lin Xian's heart sink. All of a sudden, the rift was torn apart as several terrifying figures descended from above. Li Xuanxian, the Great Guardian, and the others descended from the sky. Palace Master, will cover you. Hurry up and retreat. Li Xuanxian and the others used their powerful strength to resist. In the sky, the giant palms were constantly shattering. Buzz! A few hazy figures appeared. These figures were like gods and demons. They appeared in the sky, surrounded by a hazy light that covered their true faces. In the sky, an intense battle broke out. Li Xuanxian, the chief enforcer, and the others went all out, causing the sky to shatter and the earth to crack. Lin Xian controlled the black earth to travel quickly. However, after flying for a period of time, another group of terrifying experts arrived. This time, the experts were even more terrifying. Not good! Lin Xian hurriedly changed directions and flew into the distance. The experts behind him quickly chased after him. Suddenly, a wisp of saintly might descended from the sky, piercing through the void. Fortunately, Lin Xian's reaction was fast enough. He controlled the black earth to perform a spatial warp. That was why he wasn't hit by the holy might. Otherwise, even the black earth would have been damaged. Not good, it's the sage has made his move. Lin Xian's face darkened, and the Crimson Dragon screamed. Up until now, they had been hunted down by at least 5 forces. Moreover, a sage had appeared. This was not a good thing. The longer this dragged on, the more saints would make their move. Kid, you can't go to the Immortal Palace anymore. The path to the Immortal Palace has been completely cut off by them. Even if you activate the formation, you will definitely be beaten out, the Crimson Dragon said in a deep voice. Lin Xian also nodded. He naturally knew that these people would definitely not let him return to the Immortal Palace. Because if he returned to the Immortal Palace, it would be difficult to catch him again. After all, as an ancient inheritance, the Immortal Palace had terrifying strength. After entering, it would be very difficult to attack. Moreover, it would be very inconvenient. Therefore, these people would use all kinds of methods on the road. Then where should we go? Lin Xian asked. Do you still remember the Black Demon Cliff? You mean the place where you obtained the 9 Yang Divine Body inheritance? Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. You mean we should go in? That's right, that was a forbidden area. Even saints did not dare to step in easily. Entering there would be temporary safety. Well, that was the only way. Lin Xian nodded. It seemed that this was the only place where he could temporarily hide. Although it was a forbidden area, he had entered it last time. Moreover, this time, he had the 9 Yang Divine Body, so he should be able to enter safely. However, the others should not dare to enter. Thinking of this, he activated the formation platform again and teleported. In the sky, terrifying energy bombarded the void. However, this time, their deduction was wrong. They were bombarding the void in the direction of the Immortal Palace. And this time, Lin Xian did not return to the Immortal Palace at all. Therefore, this time, he teleported away safely. Not good, my deduction was wrong. This kid is not going to the Immortal Palace. He is going somewhere else. Humph, if he doesn't go to the Immortal Palace, he will die. No matter where he goes, it will at most prolong his life a little. In the sky, a few cold voices sounded. As long as they cut off the path to the Immortal Palace, the other party would not be able to escape. Go. These people also tore the void. Some of them even divined the heavens to capture Lin Xian's position. The sage in the sky formed a series of divine chains of order that pierced through the void. The power of a sage was definitely mysterious and unfathomable. In an instant they caught up. Boom! 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 Above the endless mountain, the void split open, forming a huge crack. In the terrifying vortex, a black spirit ship flew out. Without stopping at all, it flew towards the black mountain peak ahead. In an instant, it disappeared into the cliff. Not long after the black earth entered, the void behind it split open, and a terrifying figure appeared. Divine chains of order danced around his body. It was the mysterious sage. After he appeared, he frowned. This guy actually entered here. The sage's voice was hoarse and carried a biting cold aura. Obviously, he did not expect Lin Xian to enter the Black Demon Cliff. With a cold snort, the sage tore through heaven and earth and walked forward. Wherever he passed, countless gnomological laws flickered under his feet, forming a divine bridge that carried him forward. Soon, he also entered the Black Demon Cliff. Not long after he entered, a few more figures tore through the void and rushed over. They were the other powerhouses who were chasing after Lin Xian. However, when these people saw the Black Demon Cliff, their faces became extremely ugly. Damn it, this kid actually entered this forbidden area. Should we chase after him? Legend has it that the Black Demon Cliff is very strange. Although it is not one of the 5 forbidden areas, it is still a very terrifying place of death. Even the sages did not dare to enter easily. If this kid enters, it will definitely be difficult for him to survive. I guess he should be hiding outside, not daring to go in. That's right, he's only here to hide, not to die. Use your energy to bombard the outside of the Black Demon Cliff. Force that brat to come out. Several people quickly transmitted their voices, and then they struck out a vast amount of energy. Like a mountain torrent, it surged downward. Suddenly, the void below split open with a terrifying roar. The terrifying energy swept through the outside of the Black Demon Cliff. The mountains around the Black Demon Cliff shattered, and the entire Black Demon Cliff exuded a peerless aura. Chapter 2839. Streams of black air turned into giant pythons and quickly rushed forward. In an instant, it enveloped the mysterious powerhouses who had attacked. Damn it! Not good! Retreat! Get lost! These powerhouses roared angrily and attacked with amazing divine abilities to resist. However, they were still blasted away by the black air and vomited blood. Damn it! This Black Demon Cliff is so evil! These people's faces were extremely ugly, and their eyes were filled with fear. They had only used energy to bombard the outside, but they had already suffered such a terrifying attack. If they went in, they might not even have a corpse left. Roar! Ah! Just as they were discussing whether to attack again or ask for reinforcements, a crazy voice suddenly came from inside Black Demon Cliff. As soon as this voice came out, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Those mysterious powerhouses also felt their scalps go numb. Damn it, this is the pressure of a sage. Could it be that a sage had gone in? Sure enough, in the next moment, a ray of light soared into the sky from inside Black Demon Cliff, carrying terrifying divine chains of order and terrifying laws. It tore through the void and quickly escaped and disappeared. Only a pool of blood was left behind, piercing through the ground. Sage blood. That was the blood of a sage. Oh heavens, a sage was injured. These people were so frightened that their bodies began to tremble. Black Demon Cliff was indeed a legendary forbidden land of death. Even a sage would be injured if he went in. Fortunately, they did not go in before. Thinking of this, they quickly retreated to a safe distance and set up camp. They did not act rashly, but they joined forces to seal the surrounding space to prevent that kid from going out. Black Demon Cliff is too dangerous. We can't go in. Indeed, that kid would definitely not be able to hold on for too long. It would not be long before he came out. These people waited in place. As soon as the kid left Black Demon Cliff, they would kill him. However, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days passed. These peerless powerhouses frowned. What was going on? The kid didn't come out? Damn it, he couldn't have been killed in there, right? It was very likely that even a sage would be injured after going in, let alone that kid. He would have probably been turned into ashes long ago. Could it be that the great dragon sword soul was left in Black Demon Cliff? These people frowned. They immediately passed on the message. A day later, the void cracked open, and even more terrifying and powerful figures descended. Some of them even used holy weapons. In the sky, divine chains danced as the laws condensed. Quickly, set up the heaven-concealing formation. We can't let the news spread. These people worked together to set up a peerless formation, concealing all the secrets of the heavens. Otherwise, just the saints' might alone would have been enough to shake the entire place, and everyone would have been able to tell that the other party was here. In that case, they would engage in endless battles because everyone would be fighting for the great dragon sword soul. Fortunately, they were well prepared. This time, they brought a saint and 2 saint weapons. Terrifying energy, earth-shattering, poured into the Black Demon Cliff, trying to force its way in. This was an earth-shattering battle. The Black Demon Cliff was stimulated. Endless demonic energy surged, turning into devil kings one after another, tearing apart the heaven and earth. In the end, the 2 saint weapons were sent flying, and a saint was injured. This scene terrified the 10,000 Archean races. Damn it, what kind of place is this? A saint and 2 sacred weapons were unable to do anything to him? Could it be that they had to use an extreme weapon? However, extreme weapons were not something that could be used at will because they were used as a foundation to intimidate others. Basically, they would only use extreme weapons if they were in danger of extermination. Under other circumstances, they would definitely not use extreme weapons unless they had no other choice. Furthermore, the consequences and influence of using an extreme Dao weapon were simply too great. Firstly, it would consume endless resources. Secondly, a single attack would definitely cause unimaginable consequences. Therefore, these people's expressions were ugly. However, without using extreme weapons, even a saint could not enter. Could it be that they had to watch the great dragon sword soul be lost in the Black Demon Cliff? In the sky, the laws on the saint's body danced, forcing the demonic energy out of his body. His face was pale as he said coldly, "Although the attack just now did not enter, I've already detected it. I didn't sense the aura of the great dragon sword soul, which meant that the kid was not dead. The great dragon sword soul was still in his hands. Otherwise, the great dragon sword soul would definitely be earth-shattering." Hearing the saint's words, the other 10,000 ancient races' powerhouses' expressions turned grave. Not dead yet? This was really surprising. "Patriarch, what should we do?" The primordial kings looked at the primordial saint in the sky and asked in a deep voice. The primordial saint said, "You guys stay here and guard. That kid will come out sooner or later. Seal the world and don't let any news leak. Don't let anyone else enter. Anyone who approaches will be killed without mercy. I'll go back now. The 10,000 ancient races have already started that plan. Therefore, I can't stay here for long. However, as soon as that kid appears, inform us immediately." "Yes, Patriarch, we understand." The primordial kings hurriedly responded respectfully. At the same time, they were extremely shocked. Was that plan finally going to be activated? It really made their blood boil. Unfortunately, they could not go and could only watch that kid from here. It was really frustrating. But thinking about it, if they could capture that kid, it would definitely be a great contribution. It would not be any worse than carrying out that plan. Therefore, they all felt relieved. In the sky, the primordial kings stopped and sat down cross-legged. Around them, there were other primordial creatures floating in the void. They had set up an inescapable net. At the same time, the news also spread. Lin Xian was chased by countless primordial kings and mysterious powerhouses, and in the end, his whereabouts were unknown. This news caused an uproar in the world. Did they make a move? They did not expect that these powerhouses would make a move so quickly. This was especially true for the archaic kings, who were crazily fighting over the treasures. The people on the human side also had gloomy expressions. Some of the sacred lords and sect masters were secretly angry. Damn it, he actually let that brat escape. Could it be that he was caught by the primordial kings? No, the great dragon sword soul, the world's offensive saint technique, must not fall into the hands of those primordial races. These people gritted their teeth. Even the Yi family, Gu family, Jade Light, Jade Pool, and the sacred lords of the first-tier holy lands asked one after another. However, they did not receive any news at all. The Immortal Palace Hall was furious. They did not expect that these people would dare to be so crazy. They dared to attack their palace master. And now, Lin Xian's whereabouts were really unknown. Even they did not know where he went. This was unbearable for them. If something happened to Lin Xian, they would not be able to accept such a loss. Therefore, at this moment, the Immortal Palace Hall attacked like crazy. Invincible kings roared in all directions. There were even saints who appeared and walked between heaven and earth. This made everyone tremble. Chapter 2840. It seemed that the Immortal Palace was indeed terrifying. Even a saint had appeared. However, even a saint couldn't find where Lin Xian was. This was even more shocking. Could it be that Lin Xian had really fallen? Was he killed by an immemorial king? No one knew. At this moment, countless cultivators in the world were searching for Lin Xian's whereabouts. On the other side, in the nest of 10,000 dragons, the dragon race experts had solemn expressions. In front of them, there was a small golden dragon standing there, exuding a monstrous dragon aura. This golden dragon was incomparably valiant. The aura on its body was too terrifying, especially the dragon blood. It was even more terrifying than the old experts around it. These dragon race experts stood in front of this little dragon with incomparable respect. Because this dragon was the dragon prince of the nest of 10,000 dragons. He was also the son of the dragon emperor. He was the true emperor's son. Is there any news of the great dragon sword spirit? The golden dragon's voice was still a little immature, but it carried a sense of majesty and unquestionable authority. Soon, a dragon race cultivator knelt on the ground on one knee and reported to the dragon prince that there was no news yet. That person escaped into the Black Demon Cliff. We can't attack him for a while, and we can't send too many people in. Black Demon Cliff? The golden dragon's eyes flickered as he said coldly. Send someone to guard there. If there is news, immediately report to me. Now, let's carry out the plan. Dragon Prince, there's no need for you to personally take action. You can continue to absorb the dragon aura here to strengthen yourself. Leave these matters to us. In front of him, an immemorial king said respectfully. All right. The golden dragon nodded. I'm still in the growth period, and I still need some time before I can go out. I'll leave these matters to you. I'll send 2 saints to go with you. In addition, bring the azure dragon skin and cover the sky. You must suppress the foundation of those ancient families and extreme Tao holy emperors. We must not let their saints revive. Don't worry, Prince. Everything is under our control, those immemorial kings. A sinister smile appeared on his face. The golden dragon nodded. He directly entered the deepest part of the nest of 10,000 dragons. He began to absorb the dragon aura. To strengthen his body. Rapid growth. In the surroundings, huge divine crystals were floating in the air. It was obvious that the peerless powerhouses of the nest of 10,000 dragons had not fully recovered. They still existed in the form of a foundation. Among them, 2 saints had awakened. They would lead these archaic kings and archaic life forms into battle, conquering humanity and flattening the entire true spirit world. Let's go, it's time to reclaim the world. The entire world will be under our control once more. The 2 sages exuded a biting cold aura as the terrifying order law formed beneath their feet. Take the azure dragon horn and command the world. One of the Archean kings took out the horn of the azure dragon and channeled his energy into it. A bizarre sound rang out, reverberating through the area. Boom! Boom! The sky trembled violently. A blood moon descended from the sky as if it was going to crush the entire world. Soon, a blood-colored moon descended into the nest of 10,000 dragons and turned into a group of figures. These people's chi and blood surged. There were blood-colored moon phantoms revolving around their bodies. They were like stars, emitting a terrifying aura. Blood Moon Clan. Greetings to the Dragon Prince. I am willing to follow the Dragon Crown Prince to conquer the world. In front, an archaic king knelt on one knee, looking very respectful. Behind him, the Blood Moon Clan's archaic life forms also looked extremely pious. Boom! In the Void Palace, a huge figure tore open the space and walked out. A terrifying power emanated from his body. His eyes turned into the stars of the universe. Stone Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. These people were tall like stone men. Their bodies emitted terrifying runes, and their aura could destroy the world. Blue Demon Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. Silver Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. Blue Demon Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. The void split open, and one terrifying figure after another appeared in the nest of 10,000 dragons. These archaic races didn't come alone. Instead, they came with the peerless powerhouses of their clans. They were densely packed, forming a terrifying royal army. A total of 10 royal clans descended, and they all prostrated themselves at the feet of the Dragon Clan. Very good. The Dragon Crown Prince bathed in the aura of the Dragon Tao. Golden blood surged from his body, and a terrifying dragon might spread. You will follow the Dragon Clan to conquer the world and return to the world. Yes. We pledge our lives to follow the Dragon Crown Prince. The powerhouses and geniuses of the 10 royal clans said respectfully. Very good. The corners of the Dragon Crown Prince's mouth curled up into a smile. He raised his golden head, and his eyes were like divine arrows that pierced through the void. I wonder how the other places are doing? Divine Phoenix Ridge. This was also a terrifying place. No humans dared to come here, because this was the territory of another archaic royal clan. The Phoenix clan once had a terrifying great emperor, the immortal Phoenix god. It could be said that it was in existence on par with the nest of 10,000 dragons. It was extremely terrifying. Now, it had also awakened. At this moment, in front of the divine Phoenix Ridge, there were also 10 archaic royal clans. The densely packed archaic race army knelt on the ground. Fire Qilin Cave. Archaic royal clan. Their ancestor had produced a great emperor, the Qilin Emperor. He was truly awe-inspiring and ruled the universe. At this moment, in front of the Fire Qilin Cave, there were also 10 archaic royal clans. The 3 archaic royal clans had awakened at the same time and were preparing to attack together. This was shocking news. In addition to these 3 archaic royal clans, there were also 30 archaic royal clans and hundreds of archaic race. It could be said that the lineup this time was truly terrifying. Furthermore, there were innumerable archaic kings and even more terrifying geniuses among them. There were even many sacred weapons and sages. It could be said that this time, the archaic race was very well prepared. On the other side, although the human race had ruled the entire land, there were many sacred lands and sects, and there were also several ancient clans. However, they were not prepared at all. They did not even know that there was a great disaster waiting for them. In the nest of 10,000 dragons, the Dragon Crown Prince calculated the time and felt that it was about time. He said, "Old ancestor, contact them and use the azure dragon skin together to cover the sky and earth." The two sages nodded after hearing this. Then laws flew out from their bodies and a powerful magical power began to transmit their voices. Divine Phoenix Ridge. The two old men's bodies shone with boundless light. Terrifying laws formed two pairs of divine wings behind them. At this moment, after hearing the voice transmission, their eyes flickered. It seemed that it was time to make a move. On the Fire Chelan Cave's side, their sages had also received the news. Divine flames on their bodies surged into the sky. "Let's do it!" Powerful figures rose into the sky one after another. The 3 archaic royal clans and 6 sages appeared in the sky together. In addition, the archaic royal clans and hundreds of archaic race also had a few terrifying sages. A total of 12 sages appeared in the sky together. Chapter 2841. They no longer tried to conceal their saint aura. Between them, there was a dragon's shadow floating there. If one looked carefully, they would realize that it wasn't a true dragon, but a piece of dragon skin. It was the skin of a true dragon. But the 2 dragon race sages of the nest of 10,000 dragons were the first to move. They poured a vast amount of dragon blood onto the dragon skin. The dragon skin trembled as if it had come to life, letting out a loud dragon roar. Then, it quickly grew larger. "Attack!" The 2 of them roared angrily. The other 10 saints also attacked one after another, shooting out terrifying rays of light. The azure dragon skin was enlarged infinitely, forming a dark cloud that covered the world. It was too big. 100,000 miles, 1,000,000 miles, 10 million miles. At this moment, everyone felt the sky darken as a terrifying projection descended from the sky. The remote antiquity families, the extreme Tao sacred lands, and the top sects were all shrouded by this shadow. The terrifying dragon might shook the 9 heavens. Damn it, not good! What happened? The human cultivators were astonished. Countless gazes in the various cities and palaces looked up at the sky. The sun was covered. Damn it, what was going on? Were the 10,000 ancient races going to attack? Roar at the same time, an extremely terrifying dragon roar sounded. Then, the entire world completely darkened. The terrifying dragon might spread between heaven and earth. Damn it! At this moment, all the human powerhouses were shocked. Many of them were pressed to the ground. Even those invincible kings, grand elders, sacred leaders, and sect masters felt a tremor from their souls. The expressions of the Yi family, Gu family, Alcade, Jade Pool, Dao Yi Sacred Lands, Great Xia Dynasty, Myriad Buddha Temple, and other remote antiquity families and extreme Tao sacred lands all changed. Not good, it's the aura of an extreme Tao weapon. The Yi family patriarch roared. Damn it! Did the nest of 10,000 dragons use an extreme Tao weapon? What were they trying to do? Hurry up and activate the void mirror of my Gu family. The Gu family patriarch also roared. The other party seemed to be coming aggressively. They had to quickly take defensive measures. It wasn't just the Gu family. At this moment, all the sacred lands and sects activated their peerless array formations to block. At the same time, they prepared to revive the sacred weapons of their families and sacred lands. They even wanted to awaken their sages. But in the next moment, they screamed. Damn it, they couldn't revive the sacred weapons. Not good. Unable to contact the patriarch. Terrified voices sounded. The faces of the sect leaders and sacred lords of the sacred grounds changed. Damn it, what kind of joke is this? How could this be? They personally attempted to awaken their holy armaments, but discovered that they were truly unable to awaken their holy armaments. They were also unable to contact their old ancestors. How could this be? For a time, the world was in an uproar. Immortal Palace's side was the same. They realized that they were also unable to awaken the sacred weapon. What's going on? Li Xuanxian's face was extremely gloomy, while the Great Guardian and the others' faces were filled with worry. Where did the old hall master go? At this moment, they were all hoping for the old hall master to return. Because Lin Xian was no longer known, and the old palace master was nowhere to be found. Their immortal palace could be considered a group of dragons without a leader. However, fortunately, with Li Xuanxian here, she could temporarily lead Immortal Palace's experts. The 10,000 Dragons diagram was that supreme weapon. It sealed the heavens, sealed the earth, sealed everything. At this moment, a sigh sounded in the starry hall. Then, a sage appeared. Greetings, Patriarch. Li Xuanxian, the great guardian, and the others all stood up and bowed respectfully. That sage shook his head. There was no need to be so polite. The current situation was extremely dangerous. They had to deal with it carefully. Otherwise, it would be a crisis that would wipe them out. Patriarch, what exactly was going on? Immortal Palace's experts and invincible kings were extremely puzzled. That sage said that the nest of 10,000 dragons' supreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram, had the power to suppress and seal. Perhaps this time, they had opened the 10,000 dragons diagram and directly sealed the entire world. Those saints and holy armaments that had not been revived could not be communicated at all for the time being. However, those holy soldiers and saints who had been revived were still able to move. From the looks of it, the 10,000 ancient races wanted to seal the foundation of the human race so that we could not fight at full strength. It's sealing our foundation. In other words, those sleeping saints could not help us? Heavens! Immortal Palace's martial artists were extremely shocked, especially Li Xuanxian, the great guardian, and the others. They knew that their Immortal Palace had an extremely powerful foundation. Not only Immortal Palace, but the Yi family and Gu family also had extremely powerful foundations. Just the sleeping saints alone were probably many. But now, these saints could not be revived. Then what about the supreme weapons? Yi family and Gu family both had supreme weapons. Wouldn't it be fine if they used the supreme weapons to break the 10,000 dragons diagram? It wasn't that simple. Immortal Palace's sage shook his head. The 10,000 dragons diagram had awakened ahead of time and cut off all connections. Perhaps those ancient families and supreme holy lands could not revive their supreme weapons now. It was truly a disaster. What? They could not revive their supreme weapons? Everyone's faces were filled with despair. If that was really the case, then it would really be terrible. As expected, Yi family, Gu family, Jade Pool, Grand Xia Dynasty, 10,000 Buddha Temple, their sect masters' faces were gloomy. It was because they could not revive their supreme weapons. Damn it, how could it be like this? There was a layer of power that separated us from the supreme weapons. Moreover, this power was not turbulent, but rather gentle. Therefore, it did not pose a threat to the supreme weapons. The weapon spirit sleeping within the supreme weapons would not awaken either. After learning of this situation, the expressions of these sect masters were abnormally ugly. Before they could react, the other party had already planned everything. Moreover, the other ancient royal families had joined forces and activated the supreme weapons. Needless to say, it was not just the nest of 10,000 dragons. There were definitely other ancient royal families. It was over. For a moment, everyone's faces were filled with despair as they looked up at the sky. In the sky, the 12 saints stood on the azure dragon's skin and looked down with incomparably cold expressions. Behind them was an endless ancient army. Each of them was a peerless powerhouse, a terrifying genius. These people also looked down at the earth with cold gazes. At the front, the 2 saints of the nest of 10,000 dragons sneered. What magnificent mountains and rivers, what vast earth! This world was really beautiful. Yes, I remember that before I fell asleep, everything was under our control. The saint of the divine Phoenix Ridge also spoke in a deep voice, shaking the void. How could lowly humans have the right to control such a world? This world belongs to us. The saint of the Fire Qilin Cave also spoke. His voice was cold and emotionless. Their eyes erupted with a biting cold light. Now that we have awakened, we are about to take back everything that belongs to us. The humans are only worthy of being our slaves. Chapter 2842. It's time to let these lowly humans know our power. We will once again rule the land and rule the world. The 12 sages had cold expressions as the nomological laws on their bodies soared into the sky. They were like high and mighty gods. They formed seals with their palms, and terrifying seals appeared one after another. This world belongs to us. Let the humans feel pain. As the 12 sages used their divine chains and nomological laws, the azure dragon under their feet seemed to have come alive and turned into an incomparably huge dragon. The dragon opened its head and absorbed the spiritual energy within tens of millions of miles, forming a terrifying ball of light that suddenly rushed down. Black Demon Cliff. In order to escape the pursuit of the 10,000 ancient races, Lin Xian entered this place and was temporarily safe. However, when he first entered, he still felt his hair stand on end. Because they felt that a sage had killed his way in. This made Lin Xian's scalp go numb. Sages were extremely terrifying existences. He couldn't resist at all, and the other party was so strong. He could only pray that Black Demon Cliff was extremely terrifying and could stop this sage. Sure enough, not long after, the sage was inexplicably attacked and blood stained the sky. He left in a sorry state. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief, then his face was filled with shock. Even a sage could be injured here, let alone him? If he wasn't careful, he would probably lose his life here. Fortunately, perhaps because he cultivated the 9-yang divine body, Lin Xian wasn't attacked in Black Demon Cliff. He felt that there was a sacred power that seemed to be attracting him. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to go deeper because he knew that even if he went out now, he wouldn't be able to escape. There must be ancient powerhouses guarding outside. He had to think of a way to see if he could find any treasures here and go out to kill. However, after searching around, he still couldn't find anything. Therefore, he simply stopped searching and sat there cross-legged, silently cultivating and recovering his body first. He wasn't afraid anyway, and those people outside wouldn't dare to come in. He still had a lot of cultivation resources in his hands, all of which were in the black earth. He could use them to cultivate. However, a few days later, the world suddenly changed as a terrifying pressure was emitted from the sky. Even Lin Xian, who was in the Black Demon Cliff, could feel it. The Crimson Dragon also came out of the black earth and screamed in fright. Damn, could it be that the saints had made their move again? He was too scared. Lin Xian was also on high alert. He decided that if the situation turned bad, he would enter the depths of Black Demon Cliff. However, after waiting for a long time, he did not see the saint descend. Instead, the entire sky turned dark as if the sun had been blocked. What's going on? Lin Xian frowned. The Crimson Dragon's eyes flickered. Dragon aura! He exclaimed. Naturally, he could feel the terrifying aura of the dragon clan pressing down from the sky. Furthermore, it was not an ordinary dragon. It was at least a saint-level dragon. From the looks of it, it should be the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons who had made a move. Could it be that the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons attacked us? Lin Xian was shocked. If that was the case, then things were really bad. He activated his heavenly secret divine eyes, and his eyes emitted a golden light that pierced through the demonic energy and darkness. He looked into the distance. In the next moment, his pupils constricted. No, it was not targeted at Black Demon Cliff, but the entire continent. Under the observation of the heavenly secret divine eyes, he saw the terrifying dragon might law covering the entire world. It was not only the Black Demon Cliff that was affected, but the other continents were also affected. Qingcheng, Qiu'er, what happened? Lin Xian used the array formation to transmit his voice. Before they separated, they exchanged array formations with each other so that they could transmit their voice. Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu had also transmitted their voice. They knew that Lin Xian had entered Black Demon Cliff and his life was not in danger for the time being. Therefore, the two of them were at ease and stayed in the sacred land to cultivate silently. But now, they could not cultivate at all. When they heard Lin Xian's voice transmission, the two of them hurriedly told him what they had seen. Big Brother Xian, not good. The 10,000 ancient races are attacking. They took out their supreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram, and sealed everything. Our Jade Lake can no longer use the West Emperor Tower. Even the sleeping saints and the sealed sacred weapons would not be able to come back to life. Hearing Murong Qingqing and Shinjingqiu's words, Su Qin was extremely surprised. The Crimson Dragon's eyelids also twitched. 10,000 dragons diagram, damn it, is the nest of 10,000 dragons crazy? They actually took out such a thing. They want to use an extreme weapon. As a dragon and an old monster who had lived for many years, the Crimson Dragon naturally knew how terrifying the 10,000 dragons diagram was. If it used its full strength, it could probably destroy the entire world. No, they used an extreme weapon to intimidate the other families. Don't worry, they won't destroy the world. Their goal is to regain control of the world. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He naturally knew what these ancient creatures wanted to do. Didn't they want to regain control of the world? Even if the world wasn't destroyed, the human race was still in danger. They couldn't use their hidden trump cards. With the current strength of the human race, they couldn't resist the 10,000 ancient races. Furthermore, this time, it was the three archaic royal families leading countless royal families and archaic races. This force was simply too powerful. They also had an extreme weapon to rely on. It would be difficult for the human race to resist. Unless the human race could use an extreme weapon to revive those saints. Perhaps they could resist. But if they really fought, the world would definitely collapse. Ghosts would wail and wolves would howl. Rivers of blood would probably flow. Many sacred grounds and families would be wiped out from this world. At this point, the Crimson Dragon sighed. Kid, why do I feel that this pursuit is a good thing for you? If you don't go out, you won't have to suffer the chaos outside. You'll definitely be able to survive. Why don't you cultivate here for a few hundred years and go out after becoming a saint? You'll definitely be able to intimidate a region. After all, at the saint level, your 9-yang divine body and great dragon sword soul are definitely terrifying. Even if those 10,000 ancient races come to kill you, you can still retreat calmly. If you really can't, you can leave the true spirit world and go to the outer realm. The world was so big that a saint could leave whenever he wanted. Lin Xian directly shook his head and rejected the Crimson Dragon's suggestion. No, I can't cultivate here for a few hundred years. I have to go out quickly. In this crisis, Immortal Palace will also suffer. As the master of Immortal Palace, I can't just ignore it. Moreover, Qingqing and Qiu are still outside. I can't give up on them. I have to protect them. Lin Xian clenched his fists, his eyes releasing a biting cold light. If he couldn't even protect his subordinates and beloved women, then what was the point of cultivating? Chapter 2843. Kid, are you out of your mind? The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth in anger. What's the use of going out now? You're a young genius who can suppress the younger generation, but this isn't a battle between the younger generation. Did you see that? Those immemorial kings and saints have all jumped out, and they even used their supreme weapons. Do you think you can fight them? There must be a way. Lin Xian took a deep breath and stood up. His heavenly secret divine eyes scanned the surroundings. This is Black Demon Cliff, where the 9-Sun Sword Saint fell. There must be other treasures here. Ruffian Dragon, help me look around. You have to find something useful. I want to help the human race. I want to save the Immortal Palace. I want to protect Qingqing and Qiu'er. Lin Xian was very anxious. Useless kid, so what if I give you a sacred weapon? Can you use its full power? So what if you let the other saints use it? A sacred weapon can't change the battlefield at all. The Crimson Dragon shook his head and sighed. Unless the real 9-Sun Sword Saint revives, perhaps he can reverse the situation. I don't care, I must try. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a biting cold light. The 9-Sun divine body surged with divine fire. There must be something inside. I must go in and take a look. Lin Xian strode into the depths. Sigh. The Crimson Dragon sighed and shook his head. What a stubborn kid. He swung his dragon tail and followed. Boom! In the world outside Black Demon Cliff, the huge azure dragon opened its mouth and absorbed the spiritual energy within millions of miles. It gathered into a terrifying ball of light that was as bright as the sun. It carried a destructive power and blasted downwards. Middle ground, Qingxia's sacred ground. This was a sacred ground in middle ground. Its strength was extremely terrifying, and it was also an overlord in middle ground. At this moment, the Qingxia sacred ground had activated a peerless formation. The sacred leader, elders, supreme elders, living fossils, and countless experts and young geniuses were all on guard. Because the dragon blood and dragon might in the sky and the laws of the saints were a great threat to them. Suddenly, a glaring light appeared in the sky, so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. Damn it, what was that? The people of the Qingxia Holy Land screamed in horror. The other humans were also shocked. The reason for that was because the sky had already been covered. It was dim and lightless. The sudden appearance of a ray of light in the darkness was truly frightening. Not good, that thing is coming down. The people of the Qingxia Holy Land were terrified. Was it a sun? What they didn't know was that it was an attack from the 10,000 ancient races. Block it! A supreme elder roared madly. Everyone in the Qingxia Holy Land started to move. They frantically operated the formation. The peerless formation emitted a monstrous aura. Rays of light surged, piercing through the void. The mountains within 1,000,000 miles were trembling, and the void was tumbling. The peerless array formation of a holy land was unleashed at full power at this moment. It was truly terrifying. Boom! In the next moment, the sun-like ball of light descended from the sky and blasted onto the array of the Qingxia Holy Land, bursting out with unparalleled light. The space within a radius of millions of miles was completely shattered. Pillars of light were like long dragons, striking the void. Boom! Boom! Crack! Crack! Not good! The people of the Qingxia Holy Land screamed madly. Because they found that their peerless array formation only blocked for a moment before cracks appeared. Then, it shattered with a loud bang. The sun-like ball of light directly pressed down. With a loud bang, the ground split open, and dozens of large cracks appeared. It was like a giant snake dancing wildly, tearing the ground apart. The spirit mountains, rivers, and countless palaces and pavilions in the Qingxia Holy Land were instantly torn apart and turned into ashes. Damn it, quickly counterattack! Those people roared as if they had gone mad. Those elders joined forces one after another, pushing a sacred weapon to contend with it. The young disciples quickly fled. However, under the sun-like light, all of their efforts were in vain. The bodies of tens of thousands of martial artists split open, turning into a bloody mist that drifted between heaven and earth. Screams rang out one after another, and those elders' bodies were also torn apart, crushed by this energy. In fact, even his sacred artifact was sent flying. Boom! 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 In the end, the sun-like ball of light landed on the ground and completely exploded, completely enveloping the Qingxia Holy Land. No one could escape. The terrifying sound spread throughout Zhongzhou, and for a moment, the Zhongzhou continent shook as if there was an earthquake. Large cracks spread out for hundreds of thousands of miles, and even millions of miles. At this moment, the 4 grand dynasties of Zhongzhou, the other sacred grounds, and the large sects were all stunned. They used secret techniques to observe. When they saw that the Qingxia Holy Land was shrouded in endless energy, they were dumbfounded. Damn it, the Qingxia Holy Land was under attack. Not only Zhongzhou, but Eastern Wilderness, Western Desert, Nanling, and Northern Plains also sensed it at this moment. Those powerful sacred grounds, large sects, and families all used their arrays to investigate from a distance. When they saw the result, they were also dumbfounded. What kind of attack was this? What did it use? It was too terrifying. Those ordinary martial artists of the human clan were lying on the ground, unable to stand up at all. Their eyes were filled with infinite horror. The terrifying berserk energy lasted for 3 days and 3 nights before it slowly dissipated. The sun-like ball of light slowly disappeared, and then it dissipated between heaven and earth. How was it? How was the Qingxia Holy Land? That was what everyone was concerned about. At this moment, the Yi family, Gu family, Yao Guang, Yao Qi, the grand dynasties of Zhongzhou, and the Buddhist sects of Western Desert were all investigating. They were all stupefied like wooden chickens. Even those supreme elders and living fossils were stupefied. Because they found that the Qingxia Holy Land was gone. Was the Qingxia Holy Land destroyed? Everyone's scalp went numb, and their faces were filled with horror. That's right, the Qingxia Holy Land had been reduced to ashes, and nothing was left. If there was anything left, it would be a sacred weapon. The sacred weapon that was used to resist fell to the ground, emitting a cold light. However, it had also become dim. A sacred weapon was an extremely terrifying weapon, and it was the only one that survived this disaster. The others were all killed. This included the Qingxia Holy Land's elders, grand elders, living fossils, and Qingxia Holy Lord. Without exception, they were all killed in one move. This result made the sacred grounds, large sects, powerhouses, and families of the world silent. Their bodies involuntarily trembled. Was this the power of the 10,000 Archean races? It was too terrifying. With one strike, a sacred ground was destroyed. Such a method was heaven-defying. Those martial artists of the sacred grounds were even more terrified. If this was the case, how could they fight? Their sacred grounds could only wait to be destroyed. The other party could destroy a sacred ground with one strike, and they could not resist at all. Chapter 2844. The sacred leader, sect master, and the patriarch of the clan of the ancients also had gloomy expressions. They didn't expect the attack of the 10,000 ancient races to be so fierce this time. Their attitude was actually so decisive. Was there no room for negotiation? In the sky, on the azure dragon skin, the 12 sages watched this scene and sneered. What kind of human sacred ground was it? It couldn't even withstand a single blow. As he spoke, the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons made a grabbing motion with his hand and picked up the sacred weapon on the ground. The sacred weapon began to tremble rapidly. It was a treasure sword. At this moment, it was emitting a biting cold light, wanting to kill the sage of the nest of 10,000 dragons. The sage of the nest of 10,000 dragons snorted coldly. Dragon blood surged and directly suppressed it. Then, the 10,000 dragons diagram in the sky shot down a beam of light and directly destroyed the weapon's spirit. The green treasure sword no longer trembled and returned to calm. It was completely held in the hand of the dragon race's sage. It was really a good treasure sword. He sneered and put it behind his back. This scene was naturally seen by the sect masters of the sacred ground. They were speechless. A sacred weapon was so easily obtained by the other party? This scene was like a dream. Damn it, an extreme weapon! The other party had an extreme weapon as his backing. They naturally knew that even a sage would find it difficult to easily control someone else's sacred weapon. However, if there was an extreme weapon, it would be different. Just now, it was the extreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram, that directly destroyed the weapon's spirit of the sacred weapon. That was why the sage of the dragon race could control someone else's sacred weapon. Lowly humans, listen up, I'll give you a chance to live. The voice of the dragon race's sage sounded between heaven and earth. Now, give up the entire world and become our slaves. We can give you a way out. Otherwise, what awaits you will be massacred. If you dare to resist, you will end up like the Qingxia sacred ground. A cold voice resounded in all directions, spreading to every sacred ground and major sect. The cultivators of the sacred ground and major sects trembled, their faces filled with fear. Was this a declaration of war? The others were also incomparably furious. Damn it, they want us to give up the world? And they want us to become slaves? What a joke! This was especially so for the cultivators of the sacred ground and major sections. They were used to living like princes and were respected wherever they went. How could they endure being asked to become slaves? However, they did not dare to resist. How could they not be shocked when the Qingxia Holy Land was annihilated in one move? Damn it, what should I do? Didn't any saints come out to save him? They were terrified. Now, they could only place their hopes on the clans of the ancients and the apex Tao's sacred grounds. They hoped that the saints of their respective sacred grounds would come out and turn the tide. Give up the world? Impossible! You want us to become your slaves? You must be dreaming. The patriarchs of the Yi family and the Gu family had spoken. As the descendants of the monarch family, how could they agree to such conditions? With the two clans of the ancients taking the lead, the other great sects of the Holy Lands followed suit. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, things weren't that bad. What? Do you still want to resist? Since that's the case, don't blame us for being heartless. The 12 sages laughed coldly, and the ancient army behind them exuded a cold, killing intent. Kill! Kill them all for me! Kill until they trembled! Kill them until they submit! Kill, kill! Countless supreme ancient army raised their arms and roared. Terrifying killing intent turned into giant dragons that soared into the sky. At this moment, darkness descended. These ancient creatures were simply too powerful. The 3 theocrats had brought so many experts with them, and they even had the 10,000 dragons portrait to rely on. It could be said that they were incomparably powerful along the way. Roar! These ancient creatures were incomparably crazy. Their angry roars shattered the clouds in all directions. The entire ground was trembling. The human cultivators were terrified. Even their souls were trembling. There was nothing they could do. The other party was simply too powerful. That ferocity, those divine abilities, and the terrifying bloodline power suppressed them to the point that they couldn't breathe. Only a very small number of experts could resist it. Most of the cultivators were directly killed in one move. Boom! In the sky, the void cracked open, and a terrifying dragon claw descended. It was like a demonic mountain that carried an incomparably terrifying aura that made one's soul tremble. Damn it! The 3 elders of the Dayan's sacred ground roared. They were 3 invincible kings. At this moment, they executed the Dayan sword technique. Sword chi soared into the sky as if divine arrows were awakening. They fought against the dragon claw in the sky. Boom! Boom! The dragon claw mercilessly descended and shattered all the sword chi. The bodies of the 3 invincible kings of the Dayan's sacred ground split open and instantly turned into a mist of blood. Their internal organs were directly smashed. No! Elders! The cultivators of the Dayan's sacred ground screamed crazily. Their faces were filled with horror. They didn't expect that their elders, invincible kings, would be killed so easily. Their faces were filled with despair. In the next moment, they were also enveloped by the terrifying palm and turned into ashes, vanishing into thin air. Damn it! Damn it! The Dayan's sacred lord also roared crazily. However, he was soon sent flying and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. This scene made all the cultivators of the Dayan's sacred ground dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it. Even their sacred lord couldn't defeat the other party. Run! At this moment, they were running away crazily. In the sky, the ancient creatures sneered coldly. The silver lightning race's elites turned into lightning beasts and charged down from the sky. Instantly, countless people were pierced by lightning. Despicable ant, go to hell! The Blood Moon race's primordial kings snorted coldly and exuded a terrifying murderous aura. The blood moon above his head crushed mercilessly like a millstone that could destroy the world. Everyone who was touched by it immediately turned into a mist of blood. At this moment, not only the Dayan sacred ground, but the Tai dynasty, Nine Li dynasty, Divine Wind dynasty, and Great Xia dynasty were also affected. A green hand reached out with a pitch-black ghostly aura and directly killed more than 10 imperial family cultivators. On the other side, the Blue Devil race was continuously harvesting people's souls. Those people's eyes were wide open. There were no wounds on their bodies, but their souls were all devoured. Who can fight with me? The Sure Race's elites walked on the ground, their bodies exuding a terrifying power. All the attacks landed on their bodies, but they were unharmed. And a single punch from them was enough to kill those invincible kings. Humans were indeed a bunch of trash. The Sure Race's primordial kings sneered disdainfully. Western Desert. They were also under attack. In the sky, golden clouds floated and covered the entire world. Countless figures flashed in the clouds. The person in the lead was a woman in red with a pair of divine wings on her back. Her face was cold, and her almond-shaped eyes were filled with killing intent. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.